Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the grand finals of the Nations League. Thank you so much for bearing with us with the small little technical plays, but everything is sorted. We're back on track. We're back on schedule. And first of all, I would like to shout out a massive thank you to Dilo, Mugi, and Ragnarok for being on the desk. Now, we've got myself, TJ DJ, hosting the last part of the broadcast. I'm going to be joined by Kant and Malix as well. But unfortunately, I've got to make a brief statement just to make sure everyone is clear and everyone knows exactly where we are. At this point, we would be starting with the little finals with Team USA versus Team Canada. However, both teams have decided not to play, so there will be no little finals on broadcast. That being said, we're going straight to the grand finals. Team England versus Team France. Both teams are ready and waiting to go. So honestly, we're just going to gloss over the little finals and go straight towards the main event here. Bring it on. Fighting talk from Morose there with Team France. And now it's time, of course, to get into the real nitty-gritty here of the grand finals. We're joined by Import and Neff, team captain of England and team captain of France. Gentlemen, we've heard a lot from the interviews over the main event. A lot of our players from other teams saying that, if there was any team apart from their own who was going to win it, it has been between both of yourselves here. Now the grand finals to decide it all. Import, we're going to start with you, man. I've got to ask the question. First of all, I mean, as an Englishman myself, I've got to say, is it coming home? But is this more of a grudge match? Because this is a rematch of Nations League 1, essentially.
I mean, it's no secret that it is. I mean, just to put it into perspective, right? It's like whenever we initially made this team, our group chat literally was named, it still is, Death to France. So it's been marked. It's been marked for us for a while. It's all we've really been thinking about. It's the only final we wanted.
Well, the final, it's the final that we certainly got there. And also, I mean, that kind of answers my second question I would have thrown to you, Import, about just the fact of going over the Game 5 loss, adding a little bit of extra fire, a little bit of extra motivation. But honestly, if that's named the group chat, I think that's covered it quite well, if you ask me.
It has.
It has. Neff, here you are, team captain of France, defending champions, going up against England. Kind of fated to be here. What do you rate about this in your chance of defending your title?
I think it's gonna be a tough series. It's a best of 5. It's gonna be probably long. I don't think any team is gonna be like 3-0 or something. So I think it's gonna be a pretty tired one.
A bit tiring. It's going to be a bit of a marathon. I mean, if that Nations League 1 final was anything to go by, this could be a game number 5 potentially that we'll talk about. But as you say, that feels like quite a long way away. There's got to be a lot of predecessor played before we even get to that point here. And I just want to ask you both, because you've both of your teams in your matchup, England versus Team USA and France versus Canada, had incredibly strong performances, 2-0 wins from both of you as well. Starting with you, Neff, if you had to name an MVP for your team in the semi-quarters and semi-finals, who would you name?
It's gonna be Morose. He actually won his matchup, I think, every time. Like, he was actually gaming. I was not expecting him to win against Lauber on NA ping, and he actually did. So I mean, I'm just gonna put the respect on Moreau's name.
Yeah, and for my side, it's just a clear, like, it's either Penguin or Brandonite. They've both been playing really, really well.
Yeah, I know Malix was saying that Brandonite's been playing absolutely lights out here. And honestly, it just feels like both of the teams here, from every metric that we judge teams by, their synergy, their play style, you guys just are rising to the top, the cream of the crop, you could certainly say. And definitely looking forward to crowning the Nations League 2 champions when we do get to that point, and say we're expecting this to be a long, drawn-out series. I mean, Neff, you said that this is going to be a drawn-out one. Import, do you think this is going to be a drawn-out one, or are you expecting this to be the revenge art? 3-0, easy dubs. How's it going to call?
I think it just depends on how well we play, personally. I think we feel really, really good going into this, and I think if anybody's going to 3-0, it's going to be us. This could also go 5. It really depends, but I'd say we smell blood. We're ready.
blood in the water ready. You could say, you know, bring it on has definitely been the mantra of this entire Nations League. And I'm looking forward to it. I do just have one final question to you, Neft, before I throw it to my wonderful analysts to open the floor to them. Morose did mention in his interview that going into the main event, there was a little bit of trouble kind of with having junglers being available here. I mean, going up against Import in the jungle, certainly not an easy feat at all here. But with how you've been playing, it looks like you guys haven't really been struggling at all. So is that really still been a concern, or has RoamAware been a worthy person to step into that role?
No, I think we were worried because our like main jungle and subs couldn't play. But now that RoamAware like got some training, practice, and played some scrims, and actually played a lot of jungle, I feel like we are actually doing really well with him. It's the same with our new mid laner, Prowned. He's actually playing really well. So like, yeah, I think we're good. We are actually feeling really good.
Fantastic. And that's going to be all from me. Kant, Malik's going to open the floor to yourselves. Any questions for the team captains before we let them go back to their teams and get us ready for grand finals?
Okay, so I want you to imagine you're in game 5. You're behind. You're losing. What do you say to your team to boost them, to get them that extra grit to come back? Import. You start?
Yeah, we outscale. I don't know. You know, it's like, I'll be frank, it's like for us, I think it's going to be a bloodbath early on both sides, and I think that's where you're going to see the back and forth. I think if people are ahead in mid and late, it's like we are two very good teams, right? So we scale, we find opportunities, wait for mistakes. That's it.
I have a question for you, because there's no secret that both of you love the Wraith pick. My question is, who has the better Wraith player on their team?
I mean, it's kind of an unfair question just because they're two different roles. I mean, Brandon Knight clears every mid lane Wraith. I mean, Neft is good at Wraith too, but he plays carry. I think that's just it, right?
Any response from you, Neft, about that one with the Wraith? How's your Wraith in your hands? How are you feeling about that pick?
About that pick, I feel pretty confident. I think it's one of my best ADC, so like, yeah. I mean, I could say it. I think I'm probably just a better race, but I mean, that's my opinion, right?
All right, there we go. Just one final opportunity, maybe to get a little bit more smack talk before this one, because honestly, you guys have just been quite respectful to each other, which, you know, we do like to see, but of course, we have to think about the content. So any words that you want to say to your opponent before you go into your respective voice chat? Neft, we'll start with you.
Good luck, bro. We probably need it, so good luck.
Yeah, okay, bro. We both know how this is going. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see, man.
Uh-huh. You keep banning Sev, bro.
Oh yeah, don't worry, he's getting banned. Don't worry.
Yeah. See if that helps, man.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
All right, there we go. Import, Neft. Thank you so much for taking the time out to have a chat with us. You're free to go back to your voice chats, and we look forward to this grand finals. Thank you very much to you both, and good luck. We're looking forward to a fantastic best of 5 series between you both. All right, that is going to be Import and Neft heading back to their VCs, and we're getting ready to step up in towards the grand finals itself. Of course, going to be a little bit of time before we get into the draft as well. So, Kant and Malix, let's have a bit of a chat about the crucial elements from both of these teams. I want to start maybe with Team England. Import said that Brandon Knight has been his MVP. We expect him to be a crucial player in this matchup against France.
Oh, without a doubt, he's been playing some amazing Pred. Though I must admit, I still have my eyes on Penguin. I just saw how he played that last game, and it just spoke to me. I think he's going to be the key player on the English team.
I do agree with that. I also think Penguin played an amazing game, and giving him Deku just feels like you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage, because he just does it so cleanly with that character and just like makes it such an easy and enjoyable games to watch. But you cannot overlook the fact that both those teams have shown like a lot of interest in that Richter pick. So I'm going to see how they play around that Richter pick. Who's going to get it? Who's going to give it over? Because that is one of those picks that has shown to be quite detrimental in either winning or losing those games. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on as well.
Yeah, this support matchup is definitely one that we have been looking forward to, and Penguin versus ManQ, the most called out player I think in this entirety of Nations League. Everyone wanted to call him out, and ManQ certainly does talk the talk. He's also walking the walk as well. He's had some fantastic games on a support. I mean, Matt, as you mentioned, of course, about some of the picks going his way. That Richter is exceptionally nasty as well in his hands here. So I'm looking forward to that little matchup. But I think as well, we have to talk about the solo lane matchup. What is going to be a Bondrude versus Morose here, the clash of the two EU offlaners as well. What are we making about that matchup?
I think the offlane, that's going to be the highlight of this match for me, I think, because they've both been playing so well. Morose out of this world, and I honestly don't see much beating him.
I think it's also one of those kind of that's more narrative to it, because both these players are crowned to be like the top players in the offlane, so they have been duking out for all the Fang boosts, and this will answer who is the better offlaner. Is it Bondrude or is it Monrose on who will take home that title after today?
Yeah, it feels like there's just so much on the line here. Of course, I am trying to, hide my biases, of course, about being an Englishman. I mean, it is coming home. Let's be perfectly honest here. But honestly, this series against France is going to be absolutely incredible for sure here. I mean, we just see a bit of some stats here from Zarus for the Morose as well. I mean, what are we expecting to be the top picks in that solo lane? I mean, we said right at the end of that interview, keep banning Sev and see what happens. Of course, that could go into import on that Sev jungle, but also one of Bondrude's signature picks.
Yeah. No, I think that the Zarus is probably getting prioritized, at least by fans, and I'm going to guess quite like to be banned by England too. It's just that what Monrose did without Zarus isolating Lakenator in that game versus Canada, he basically won them fights that way. He was just so good.
It's a kind of an interesting take as well, because both these players have very different play styles. Monrose is one of those who likes to play those skirmishing champs a lot more. He like one of his favorite picks used to be like Grux, or like he was known for his Grux, his Sarus, his Figmal. Those who can really just pop off and snowball the game. While Bondrude he plays a bit of everything, but I'm mostly in on tanks. But as might also be because tanks right now are the predominant pick in that offlane, so I'm expecting him to get his hands on maybe a Richter, maybe a Severog if they leave it open, like Info just said. Maybe they take the bait and just let him have it and see how it goes. But I'm pretty certain he can play most things, and the question is like who will execute the most and how they will draft around that pick that offlane as well, if they want to leave the counter pick for that lane.
All eyes are going to be on that draft, which will be coming up in a few moments. Of course, I mean, having Import and Neff with us here has delayed things a little bit. Of course, moving into a bit of an early grand final, you can see the final brackets coming through there with how both of these teams got there. England and France, 2-0s all the way through. No doubts, no games dropped. And honestly, both absolute fire series that highlighted some of the strengths on both of these rosters and really showing why they got here in the first place. Import said in his interview, gentlemen, he's expecting this to be back and forth. To be a back and forth affair. A lot of bloodshed, a lot of early fighting here. So what are we expecting this to be from the game plan? Are they going to relish in that chaos and just actually meet each other and just try and brute force their way past? Or do you think they're going to have to adapt a little bit to what they're expecting the aggression to come out from the other team?
I think that they both like to think that they'll bring the fight here, but I'm willing to bet that they will be slightly more careful this time. They'll take a step back. They don't want to make a mistake. I think they will have a bit of nerves.
I think when you have teams like this, you can't really go in with a game plan. You can always make a plan, but then again, you make a plan, expect the plan to fail, and make a new plan. And I feel like that is going to be the story of this game. You will always have the way you want to play the game, but in terms of how it gets executed, that you have to make up on the fly. Since none of these are playing convention, and they will always look to one up each other, play a bit of chess with one another. Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Like where is our support? Where is the offlaner? And so that will always be an interesting factor to take into account, how like these calibers of teams going up against one another.
All right, I think one of the questions that we need to ask, though, to both of you guys is for a bit of a is a pre-set prediction. Neft said this was going to be a long game, possibly going to game 4 to game 5. Neither team are expecting a 3-0 either, so count Malix. Who wins this set, and what is the score?
You know, I'm sorry, but France has it. 3-1.
3-1 victory for France there from Count Malix.
I'm actually going to go on the other end of that spectrum. I'm going to go 3-1 to the English boys. I think they're taking it home.
All right, it is a split desk and split perfectly down the middle as well with that prediction. But of course, that means that the common thread is that this game will not be a 3-0 stomp for either of these teams as well. Man, I'm just really looking forward to this one, honestly. This is a matchup that has been teased. I mean, when we saw how the brackets kind of fell, it was going to result in, honestly, with these two teams almost destined to meet each other in that final match here. So we're expecting it to be bloody. We're expecting it to be a bit more of a chess game as well. Kind of feels like, there's an interesting dichotomy there. Maybe it's going to be a bit of a internal series meta developing here, with the response from both of these teams. Draft is ready. Just got the word from a Lullaby who has been running production for us all day. You can see down below us there as that counter is going to start moving. We are ready. Game number 1 of the grand finals will begin. And guess what? There's going to be first to take it away. The Sevarog is certainly going to be banned.
Yeah, they're not afraid at all. England can talk, just going to ban it. And then there's a Richter ban. Mankey too good.
And that question is the Rampage or is the Sinks more important here for the Friends? That pick will determine what the England's going into. Actually, it's the SARS first pickup. That is something you have not seen for a while there, but now Terra and Wraith being picked up on the other side.
All right.
Yeah,
also, I'm just going to have to try and make sure I've got the seatbelt on or something like that, because this draft is going fast and furious here. Terra and Wraith going to be locked in by Team England. And that Wraith pick, Malix, you said in your question, you're expecting that to be a contested pick. So we're going to see what Team England do with that, most likely being in the mid lane. But Neft has got other ideas. One of his signatures, a blaster on the past, is going to be the Revenant lock-in.
Yeah, I must say I'm quite surprised actually that Zinx hasn't been taken at all, but I guess England's just so confident that we'll get either Zinx or Decker, and France doesn't seem to play it.
Mankey does seem like that Narbash, I think he's very strong. He likes it. He just feels like it runs up the comp so well on the other side. They're actually not prioritizing the support at all, but they just want to pick up that Drongum to make sure that they can silence that Crash Bang Boom and also stop the Revenant from using his abilities if you time the Gag Grenade in a perfect sync. Now the question here is, what is France going to ban in England? I think England's going to go for that jungle pick, try to pinch it a little bit, because they have the Terror who can be a fixed pick, and I think Corner Bruce is kind of happy with playing either Krang or something else on that off lane.
They're going to decide to take away the steal, trying to limit that off-lane pool, expecting that if Romeware decides to take the Zarus in towards the jungle role, definitely up in the air with how these picks are going and the flex potential with them. Now, of course, you mentioned the Decker. We did see Penguin hits. Honestly, I think I've got to go back and watch the VOD here, because that was an absolutely disgusting combo that Penguin pulled off on that Decker just to keep a member under the tier 1 tower, utilizing it fully, but they're not going to ban away the Decker. The Kwang is also going to be removed, so more targeting towards that off lane. That leaves most of the supports available for Team England to take here, and also France need a mid laner.
Yeah, that mid lane. Okay, we're gonna see things picked up. That's not completely unexpected. She's just so good at the moment. Mid lane wise, I'm honestly kind of expecting a Howitzer, maybe a Faye, though Howitzer is just so good at the moment that I can't see him not being picked up by at least one of the teams.
Also, Easy Pieces being one of those Iggy enjoyers, and Iggy once he's ahead and can get those on those objectives, they just shred. Now for the final pick, it's gonna be that jungle pick. The question is, what does Romeware have up his arsenal? Because a lot of picks that he can play in the jungle has been pinched here, and as we said, he has not played for a long time. He's gonna get the Greystone. Now the question is, what could Wonderbird or Import respond here for the jungle pick?
So we're leaving that pick right into the end. Oh, it's the Countess. Okay, we are not messing around in game number 1. So I think if I'm going to call this, that it's most likely going to be Brandon Knight on the Wraith, Terra going in towards the off lane, and Import's going to have that Countess in the jungle, which seems to be what England are going to be going for over here. But I just want to throw this back to you guys quickly about the end of that France draft. I mean, Smith mentioned about the Iggy and Scorch, how much Easy Peasy does like this pick. That Greystone came a little bit out of left field there. I was not expecting that.
I'm honestly not too surprised about the Greystone. He did play it, I believe, 2 sets ago, and he did quite well in it. Quite decent impact, creating space. I feel like it works pretty well with the current draft.
Looking at these 2 drafts, I kind of like the way England has drafted, but I think I lean a bit more towards the French here. They have just a well-rounded draft. They have Revenant as far as for the consistent damage. Greystone, who can just go in and be a nuisance. But Zinx can be a crutch for that Revenant, because Revenant usually want to ult and get those bounties and to get those kills when they're low. But if you time the Zinx ulti on the Revenant target, you can actually deny him from getting that shutdown within the ulti. So it can be a bit of a mismatch in that regards. But good, all in all, fun first drafts here.
Very fun first drafts, and honestly, for game number 1 in a grand finals, in a best of 5, you need to get off on a strong foot as well. Honestly, we have some signature picks as well, right? You know, there's a lot of pop-off potential. There's outplay potential in spades across both of these drafts here. So, Kant, Malik, just before we throw to our casters, I'm going to ask you not who wins the draft, but who is the most important player on each team. So, Kant, who is the most important player for England to make this draft work, and why?
Imports. I don't see that the English draft working out if Import doesn't get on the board with impact.
All right, Malix, who's important for Team France?
I think it's going to be that SARS. If SARS can get ahead and just shut down, I suppose, the Terra in the off lane, like, England's are going to have such a hard time face checking and just going in general, because this can be kind of your front line, your face checker, your engaged sort of style. So I'm going to keep an eye on that off lane and see if SARS can pull out one of those magic tricks to get them the win.
All right. That is the words from Kant and Malix joining me on the desk. We've got a hype matchup. We've got hype heroes and hype players. Game 1 of Grand Finals of Nations League Season 2. France versus England. We're going over to the casters. Spooky Mars and Lance. Take it away, my friends.
That's right, everyone. Hype all the way around today. France against England. This is the finals you've been waiting for. The finals that these teams have been waiting for since they first started this tournament. Everything has built to this moment. Lance, we've heard it from the desk here. I'm excited. How about you?
I'm super excited, and I know the Team England's excited. We were talking about how long everybody's been waiting for this. They've been waiting for this since the last finals when France defeated them. We're doing a rematch, which is always very exciting. I believe it's Brandon Knight on the Wraith in mid lane, correct? They were talking about that? Okay, that is wonderful to know that that is Brandon Knight, because I do not speak whatever language that is. But nice to see that the Wraith is picked up by Team England here. I believe that is going to be a highly contested pick throughout these drafts. Everybody knows how good Neft is on it. Maybe a little bit of shenanigans here, as all 5 members of Team England are moving together. But Spooky, I like the way that these compositions match up against each other. Does anything stick out specifically to you?
I mean, what I'm looking at first here, that's going to be the duo lane here, right? Big names on both sides. We do see 7-1 has been placed into the duo lane in ADC in place of Julie Latina for game number 1 here. Gonna be going up against Neft and Manq. What I look at the most here, Lance, I look at those 2 healers that are right next to these carries on both ends. You've got the Zinx on one side, Narbash on the other. Great sustain here. The question becomes, which sustain is better, and who do you think actually has the edge in that lane?
I think that that is really tough. I mean, Zinx has a lot of spice to her because she's the new hero, right? She's got the revive. Right. She's got the multiple person stun and all of that stuff. But as the game continues to scale, Narbash has this big AoE. He can speed everybody up. He's got so much that he can do. Yeah, he's only got that single click stun with the thunk. But when he gets the Crash Bang Boom online, that's a group CC for a team fight. I believe he's a better team fight support than the Zinx is, but I think the laning phase is going to be in favor of Penguin. But before we continue to break down this duo lane, I need to talk about Countess making her return to the competitive
Yep.
scene. We saw her way back in the past. She kind of disappeared for a little bit because they changed the way some of the items interacted. Well, guys, buckle up. Tank Countess is back, at least for now. And I believe she's going to be around for a while. But you go Fire Blossom first. Hold on a second. We got a little bit of an excitement. Nef going to have to take the blink early. So 5 minutes worth of pressure that 7-1 and Penguin have on this dual lane. Wouldn't be surprised to see Import make an appearance. We know he likes to pick on Nef, the six-time Feng Booth champion. But Tank Countess is back, right? So we're going into the Fire Blossom, and then we're going to go into the Spirit of a... Very hard to kill late game when she gets those stacks onto her passive, gets the extra magical lifesteal from that as well. Very, very strong objective control as well. Her Shadow Slip, her primary ability, does like over 1,000 damage to monsters and minions. So that on top of using the hunt is going to make it very, very hard for the jungler on Team France to out-secure it. Brandon Knight getting a little bit of pressure. Import here to defend.
Less than half health already, but he's got his jungler here, moving on forward, looking to turn the aggression around. Can't quite find all the damage they're looking for. That certainly pushes France back under their tower. England getting back control of this mid lane so far. Brandon Knight has had good control over this lane. We've already seen him make a couple rotations, not full rotations to lanes, but he stepped in the jungle a few times. Might be looking for this first blood kill, but a blink gonna keep easy peasy, easily alive there. So far, no kills.
This mid lane matchup is awful if you are Iggy. Wraith gets the reset on his knock if he kills your turret. Well, he one-shots your turrets until you put 2 or 3 points into it, so he can just instantly clear all of the damage that you can set up, all of your ability to try to push the wave. Yeah, the Molotov has pretty good wave clear for Iggy, but you basically don't get to play with turrets. And he gets 100% mana refund. He just kills your turrets for free. Feels real bad if you're the Iggy here. But he's got the ability to try to move to the other lanes, try to make an impact somewhere else. Also has a really good ability to defend his lane later and as the game goes on. So a little rough early. Brandon Knight's going to have that advantage. Wouldn't be surprised to see Import continue to focus that lane, as well as Nef's side. So just kind of playing the left side of the map, since Nef still won't have his splash for about another minute, and actually probably another 2 or 3 minutes at this point. So keep your eyes on Import, as he's probably going to stay on that left side of the map and hover mid.
Far, this has been kind of comfort from England we've seen. We saw a very similar draft from them before. Aware stepping a little aggressively here, does use the blast seed, but Import gonna go ahead and follow him. Brandon Knight is here as well. The root comes through, and Brandon Knight finally gets that first blood kill he's been looking for. Aware oversteps into the jungle.
Put him on the board, Spooky. That's the first kill of the finals. It's gonna be Team England that's gonna strike the first blood. But Brandon Knight getting that first kill, also pretty important. I believe he had the Soul Chalice at the point that he gets it, so a few extra stacks on that. Actually, I don't know if that works on kills or not. I think I might just be thinking Orb of Growth, but that doesn't matter because he's definitely not going Orb of Growth on Wraith. More to continue to talk about in this. I really like this offlane matchup in favor for Team France and Morose, having the Zarus into Terra. Terra unstoppable in her ult, right? The only real thing that gets in the way of that is walls. So they do have a way with the Colosseum, the ult from Zarus, to counteract some of that CC immunity from the Terra here. But I believe as this game goes later and later, Terra just becomes more and more of a menace. Import getting a little crafty here. Knows Roma's around. Roma just going to back up. Smart to the fact that 2 of them are there. Gonna take the 2 camp as a prize for Team England here, and just kind of respectful. We are 6 minutes into it. First Fangtooth is up. Haven't seen a lot of action over towards the left side since that initial fight that did force Nef's blink on about the second wave. A little surprised to see that there hasn't been more action, but as I say that, the intentional caster curse, Spooky.
Import going in. Mancu seems to be the target. He's got the healing aura online. Too much healing at the current time to find any kills on this. Just looking for pressure in this lane so far, Lance. And that seems to be one thing that England hasn't been able to find a lot of. And I think it's partially because of those healers on both sides. That was going to be one of my questions. Is it even worth looking at that dual lane with how much sustain is over there? Because it feels so hard to actually lock those kills down.
So I think in the mid game, it is around that 6-minute mark. You get your ultimate. Like if you're on import, you've got the ability to feast, lock somebody down for a second. If you can get that onto a flashless Neft, you can blow him up fast enough that the Narbash isn't going to be able to counteract the healing as long as the Thunk doesn't interrupt the feast from Countess. But honestly, yeah, it's probably not. It's probably not, and especially as the game goes later and later. Manq's got that AoE heal on Narbash as well. Zinx, you can try to blow somebody up. She's just going to probably bring them back to life. Yeah, they're still just kind of stuck in the same spot. I think that a lot of the community was a little concerned about what that revive might look like. I don't think it's quite as strong as everybody was initially anticipating it. You can shift your focuses. Right. You can just wait that 2 seconds. It's kind of like Epoch, where if you just hold your abilities for when they respawn, you just kill them again when they respawn. So I think there's a little bit more potential to get onto the Zinx and to the Drongo, although he does have that silence for himself, which is kind of weird because there's just like no mobility on Revenant. Usually you would think he's the one that's easier to gank, but I don't know if I agree with that if he's got the Narbash on his side.
It certainly feels like Zinx may be the target. Penguin has shown quite a bit of expertise on this pick over the past few games. If I'm France, I'm certainly looking at taking this pick off the board before I do anything else and take a look at that map. Import. Making the rotation over. Here comes Rome Aware looking at Penguin. He is indeed the target. He's by himself. Nowhere to go. Neuroregenesis comes through. But can he get back out? It's going to be a tough one. Blink is good. And 7-1 steps forward. Import has made the rotation as well. They're turning the tides right back around onto France, pushing them back into that tower. Brandon Knight on the rotation as well. Has a lot of damage, but the Stone Forged Soul keeps Rome Aware alive. And somehow at the end of this, nobody has fallen.
So nobody falls at the end of this, but this is the type of fight that's really important. It's on the Fangtooth side of the map. So all of these resets are going to have to come through by France. We see all of the members of Team England right around this pit. Are they going to be high enough to be able to try to take this? It looks like they're not going to capitalize, take this Fangtooth during the reset, but it's Team France who has the Iggy. They know they can burn the neutral objectives, so they're going to look at the mini prime, but there's not a hunt here. Bondred is going to come over. Is he going to be able to try to make the 2v1 move? He does have his ult. He's going to concede it. I do not blame you, Bondred. Good job, Bondred, not feeding there. Don't go in and feed afterwards, Bondred. I'm complimenting you. Okay, cool. He's backing up.
Hey, Bondred does as Bondred pleases. And so far, it seems like he pleases to stay alive. We are going to see that Fangtooth started up now after the mini prime goes down. England knows some resources have been expended. We'll go ahead and take that without contention as well. So first Fangtooth traded for first mini prime. Which do you value a little bit more here, Lance?
So it's kind of tough because I don't think you get the initial value from the mini prime by taking it. It's about what you do with the buff, and if you're able to take those minions and get a couple tier 1 towers, at least one. If you can get 1 or 2 tier 1 towers, I think mini prime is worth it. But the thing about it is that or the Fangtooth is permanent. You keep that. It also puts pressure on them. It doesn't matter if you get 2 mini primes. It's global gold. It's a little bit of global XP. If you get 2 Fang Teeth, you got 8% out of combat movement speed and 50% length to your buffs. So right now it's kind of a wash. And if they're able to get more gold in their pockets with the mini prime, I think it goes in favor that way. But right now, with this exact second, 10 minutes and 33 seconds into the match, it's the first Fangtooth.
Well, gonna see things slow down a little bit here. Although this has typically been the pace of the game so far. First game in a best-of-5 series. These are moving a little slow. Easy peasy, makes the rotation. And you can see the caution from both sides here, right? They're not looking to make risky plays. They're looking to try to set up guaranteed plays for themselves. Import. He's looking to make something happen over here in the mid lane alongside Brandon Knight, but easy peasy being under that tower. There's very little opportunity instead. Turn your eyes to the left side. 7-1 goes to the Shadow Realm, dueling it out with Nef, and Nef puts him down. France now on the board 11 minutes in. They find the kill, and you know what? You can't revive someone who's not on the same plane of existence as you.
Nef gives him the hot pih. He does not care that you're underneath the tower. He'll put you into that Shadow Realm. That's one of the big strengths of Revenant. So rewinding that just a little bit, I want to come back on something that you were saying. You're talking about finding a spot to take advantage of it. Right before you said that, there were 3 men standing in front of Bondred, just looking at it. And Bondred just pushes his S key. He just walks back, and then somehow, even though they've got 3 members of their team on the other side, Neft gets the kill on 7-1. So, way to use your numbers disadvantage to your advantage somehow. But I thought that was going to be England's opportunity to kind of capitalize on, hey, what are these guys doing here? We've got advantages on the other side of the map. Let's capitalize on it. France is still somehow able to win the kill or win the fight over in the duo lane, where I guess the numbers shake-up doesn't really matter because nobody else was there with them. But France looking strong, looking like they won the last Nations League.
France certainly looking to repeat the performance here. And it's all slow and methodical, both sides. You can't be too risky, you can't rush things, but you got to take those opportunities when they arrive. And Neft is certainly adept at doing so. Now with a slight advantage over this left side, thanks to that passive as well, giving him the extra gold. What are we expecting to see here is actually little gank on both sides. Import comes over to the right side. The Romaware has returned the favor on the left. 7-1 goes down first, but it's a 1-for-1 trade across the map as Morose falls.
Morose does fall 7-1 down once again, but at least they are trading some of it back, and they should be able to get this tier 1 tower over in the off lane side of this. Fondred on the wrong side of the river, but Easy Peasy doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. Romaware shows up. The flash is just going to be expended back safely into his tower. Spooky, I want to backpedal. You asked me what the bigger value is between getting Mini Prime and getting the Fangtooth. Well, they just got the first tier 1 tower of the game, and it wasn't with the member of their team that got that Mini Prime. So unquestionably, I would say that the favor goes to Team England getting the first Fangtooth right now, as the second one will be spawning in about 45 seconds. So expect that to be the priority for both of these teams and where they're going to group at to probably have this next big explosive team fight.
Now here's the real kicker to that, though, Lance. The tower that falls, England gets the right side tower. That's great for them. But France gets that left side tower, the one in dual lane, the one that's right by that Fangtooth. And it feels like it gives them so much more pressure on that side of the map. Start looking at the next Fangtooth. Meanwhile, Brandon Knight simply disappears from the game. And that's at the hands of Neft, who was the one getting ahead in the duo lane. As all that comes to the point I'm trying to make, Neft being ahead feels really detrimental to England.
I don't know what
that's
to say
not good
about
either.
this. Yeah, that's not good either. Bondry gonna fall to Moros over in, over in the offlane. I gotta just tell you, Neft gets a lot of attention and Neft gets a lot of praise throughout the Predecessor community, especially over here in the European side of it. And everybody's always talking about, oh, I want a piece of Neft in the finals. I wanna be the team to take down whatever team's Neft on, whether it's any of the teams he's ever been on, Immune, Rogue, anything. This is why we give Neft so much attention. He is taking this game and he is dominating it so far. Yeah, it's pretty early.
Another one.
We're only a little bit in. Neft gets another kill. He's hot dogging while we're bragging about him the way that it is. There's a reason he's won 6 Fang boosts. There's a reason he's won 2 PCCs. There's a reason he's probably going to win his 7th Fang booth in 2 weeks when the finals for Fang booth happen in 2 weeks. A little bit of a plug. Shout out Fang booth. He's a different animal. I will say we do get to claim him as an NA Wester. He came over for a little bit and was living on the west coast of America. So NA West represent. Thank you, Neft. We appreciate you.
He's on France.
We are going to pick up the second Mini Prime of the game once again, going over to Team France as they get the second one. So maybe they can get a tier 1 tower or 2 out of this one. Actually, they can't because all of them are down. Maybe they can get some tier 2 towers out of it. But Spooky, this game has been cracked open. It looks like France is in a lot of control.
Yeah, from a simple couple kills in the left side to a tower, and then it just becomes all the objectives afterwards. Now, Easy Peasy going to be looked at here by Brandon Knight and Penguin. Pulls him back with the rewind. Penguin, though, is the one that gets that kill credit. It's good to get the kill, but I'm sure you would have liked to see that better on Brandon Knight, especially after France just made this big gold swing of taking all 3 tier 1 towers, a Fangtooth, and a Mini Prime.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Brandon Knight definitely wanted to keep his composure, though, so that's not going to bother him. He'll be just fine about that. Doesn't think that Zinx was, intentionally doing that, I'm sure. So, those keep going. He's still going to get a little bit of gold for the assist. All of Team France just kind of looking to import here, but he's not scared of nobody. He's got the, actually, it looks like he went with the Magnify into the Fire Blossom, which I was kind of explaining what I thought this tank Countess build was going to be like. Listen to Import. Don't listen to what Lance has to say. Import definitely knows the right build. So Magnify into the Fire Blossom. Going to be really hard to kill. Has a little bit of that magical lifesteal on it, like I was talking about anyways. Doesn't look like he might not go the Spirit of Amir route. Don't really blame him. I'm not a huge fan of that. But second or third Fangtooth is going to be up. We are not at up 1 apiece for them. We are to the point, actually Fangtooth about halfway to spawning. So no real big neutral objective up for them to fight over Spooky. How do you think England can get themselves back to a spot where they can compete with France in this game?
It really feels like you just got to dig in and start farming up, right? Don't make any risky plays. You don't need to step forward. Like you said, there's no major objectives for them to be fighting over. So if you take a step back and just focus on your waves on your farm, you're not sacrificing anything, right? Now's not the time to make the plays for those tier 1 towers. You're a little bit behind. You want to make sure you're all grouped up around an important area, right? Get around that Fangtooth. It's way easier to fight in a small pit than to try to step up, get ganked. 7-1. Gonna be ganked right now by RoamAware. Coming in, but Brandon Knight's here to try to help out. Link is good. Shrapnel Cannon takes him out, but Brandon Knight now left on the back. Stoneforge Soul goes up to keep him safe, and Neff simply removes Brandon Knight from the equation. Takes him to the Shadow Realm. Control Alt Delete. Now France turn all around, looking to try to get back out. Import goes down. Neff simply does not care. Easy peasy. Breathing the fire, bringing the pain, and all of a sudden, England is sinking under the seas. France is trying to take over. Drop the Colosseum. Bond Druid, you will not be walking out of this alive. You can take Neff, but they'll take you with them.
Oh, and big shutdown for Bondra there, but they do get completely wiped. That's the RGSAs. All of Team England have fallen. They only get 2 members of Team France. They also get the tier 2 tower. A little bit of a minion wave onto it, but Brandon Knight, who died early in that fight, is going to be able to clean that up. They're not going to lose the in-hit import out of the base, as well as we're only 19 minutes in. Death timer's still very short, actually. So Team France showing the strength. I actually just can't believe the things that Neff is doing in this. I didn't realize Revenant was that strong of a hero. I thought he was in a pretty weak spot meta-wise, actually. Looks like the damage is definitely coming out. They're doing a really good job of peeling him as well. Menq knows the strength that he is. Just gets his first death. Was 6-0-1 at that point. Already 3 items, working his way towards the Terminus as well. So much gold in his pocket. And Bondred is going to be pretty beefy. Had to have gotten at least 750 gold for that shutdown. Maybe he can put that to some stats that are going to work. But this next Fangtooth is about to spawn, already getting wards down deep within that pit. Actually, it looks like they're just going to rip it straight out, Spooky. They're not going to wait for anything. They say, we see where Bondred is. We see the 2 people in the mid lane. We don't care.
That's
we can
quick.
rip it fast enough, and they just gobble it right down, man. 2-0 or 2-1 Fangteeth in favor of Team France.
All right, check this out, Lance. I know a few items, right? Neff currently rocking the Imperator, Vanquisher, and Demolisher. That's a lot of damage, especially with the Revenant passive already increasing his crit damage. This guy is demolishing things, and it really feels like the biggest part of this pick is just it removes the ability for Penguin to save somebody. Now, looking at this Orb Prime, both teams are here, under 4,000 health, only 3 left. Morose goes in, drops the Coliseum onto 2 on the Orb Prime, keeps going down further and further. It's killed, it's slain by France, and now they want a little bit more. 7-1 puts Manq into the bottom of the world, but he's getting chased around. He's got nowhere to go. France gonna take this fight easily afterwards, removing 3 more members of England.
But once again, it is Neff. He's going to die in that fight. I'm not sure if I saw who it was that picked him up. Maybe it was 7-1.
I believe so.
I believe it was too, as it was just coming up. But still, 3 members with the Orb Prime buff. It's going to be RoamAware and easy peasy MG3, who I will get confirmation on who that is. So maybe he's got an easier name after this game. But a lot of pushing pressure Iggy already clears the wave pretty much at instant speed. Now he's going to have those buffed up minions with him. Sure, Neft doesn't have it, but does Neft really need a buff to be stronger than the enemy team? I would say no. And doesn't get the shutdown gold for killing Neft in that fight either, because he had just previously died. So doesn't get just gets kind of the regular value for killing Neft in there. And once again, the cojones on Team France. 20-minute orb prime. I know that you guys are in the lead, but it was only 10-5 at that point, and they just stand in there, rip it, take the orb prime down real fast at 20 minutes. That's not easy. You burn objectives very slow at that point, especially when you've got a Revenant. Sure, they've got the Iggy who can kind of tear it down pretty quick and make up for a lot of that DPS that you lose with the Revenant, but still very impressive, very aware of the limitations of their team comp and where they were at in their power spikes from Team France. That's the mastery that you expect to see from a team looking to defend their Nations League title right now, Spooky.
France has been very patient in this game so far. They take their time, wait for an opportunity, and really it's kind of just been about getting Neft ahead and getting him active in the fights, because every time Neft turns up to one of these engagements, bodies are dropping on the side of England, and France is securing objectives. Now with the orb prime around them, they're going to march up this right side. Looking at... But you don't draw your line there. Where can you draw? Import goes on forward. Doesn't find a whole lot out of it. Just takes some damage, has to come back. Now Roma stepping forward, drops the ice, and Morose drops the Coliseum. He's got 3 in there. This is a death ring for England. They got to find a way back out, but Import's already fallen. Easy peasy, stepping forward, and 7-1's got nowhere to go on this one. Neft quickly drags him back to the grave and reminds him that this is where you belong. 2 inhibitors down, waves coming in. France looking to end this one before the 25-minute mark. Bonju steps forward, but he's quickly pushed right back out. He's not going to make it back to the fountain. He's gonna go down, and as he falls, so too will the core. France taking this one quick.
Neft is Neft, Spooky. I can't believe the damage that this man just bumped out. 9-2 3. Definitely the MVP of at least that game for it. Manq, actually, no. I got to give a shout out to Manq. 0-1-14. That is crazy. Yeah. We talked a little bit early in the game about Import coming in and trying to get onto Neft with the feast to try to be able to stop it. At the very, very end of that game, Import tried to do that. Manq hit the thunk, the feast, the ultimate from Import that could have potentially wiped Neft and got that game or that defense back in England's completely negated by the thunk of Manq. So really good job peeling the main character that entire game from Team France as they take the 1-0 lead in the series.
Genuinely, Penguin Zinx was impressive in previous games. In this match, it felt like he could not do a single thing. And it really felt like it was just because the opportunity was consistently torn away from him by Neft, by just sending any low targets into that other world. And what does Penguin do at that point? Neurogenesis can't target that, and you don't get any revives. This Zinx, it felt like it had no impact, Lance.
I wouldn't say that it had no impact. There were a couple of spots where it did it, but I think that it's hard to play Zinx on a losing team because you kind of just make the person that you're reviving a sitting duck, Spooky.
Well, unfortunately for Team England, that is game number 1 down. But, Lance, this is the best of 5. A rough start does not mean the end of things. There is a long road ahead of us. But before we get to those games, let's kick this one back to the desk and let them break it down.
Spooky and Lance with the cast for game number 1. Thank you so much, my friends, for calling that one, and welcome back to the desk, Kant and Malix. I said that we were going to have a statement game from either of these teams. So much potential to pop off, and honestly, it only looked like one team was doing that. France absolutely rolled England over in that game. It felt like as soon as they got that ball rolling, England absolutely powerless to stop it. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, mainly 2 things. First and foremost, it was just, as the casters said before, like that French duo lane did some amazing stuff. But I also want to point out the game that Morose played, like especially in that the orb fight at 20 minutes, how he just jumped straight onto the English backline, caused chaos. They couldn't do anything to stop him. basically, in my opinion, that won France the fight and the game from that. The second thing is the Zincs. Like Zincs against any other team than France has had such an immense impact. But it seems like France, they've cracked the code. They know how to deal with Zincs.
The Zinc was a bit of a misplaced in this game. It didn't really hit the mark as probably the English wanted to. The ultis were a bit off and never really getting to those key targets and never reviving it. And that is just the power like the detriment of having a timed revive. So if you play around the timer, you can always get around it. But then on the other side, you have that Revenant, who is such a strong pick, and especially once you hit that level 6, you can make it a 1v1, and it's just very strong in lane as well. So getting that lead and then get you snowballing, going and collecting kills left, right, and center just help them out a lot. And like you said, it can't that offlane, even though I felt like important and Bonneberg, they invested a lot of time. The English invested a lot of time in that. Offlane, Monroe's kind of came out ahead and like was doing fine, so that kind of backtracks the whole game plan from the England. But hey, maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Well, thankfully, there's going to be at least, at a minimum, 2 more next time, because this is a best-of-5 series. France with a commanding Game 1 victory here. And, as the casters rightfully said throughout that one, this is a best-of-5 series. It is not decided in game number 1, but honestly, France providing a lot of answers to what Team England were bringing here. And, of course, we're going to be diving a little bit more into detail with the Game 2 draft here. But for England, definitely need to have a bit of a change here, because France certainly had their number. Why was England struggling so much to find success in that game 1?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, because I felt like how they started the game, that there was a real working game plan there for England. Maybe, as Max said, they overinvested into the offlane, and the value they got out of that just wasn't enough to compensate for the amount of time they put into it.
Also, I'm not entirely sure, but they just felt like they were a bit indecisive on certain parts, like going in when they maybe shouldn't have, and then also just struggling a bit, and maybe not having the agency that you would like, and having the setup they needed to get those picks rolling. Because Cam is also one of those picks that kind of needs a bit of snowballing to get ahead. But if you build, I'm not entirely the 10 canvas works, but like Darren Canvas just wants to get those feasts online and just start stacking them, so she gets that only van. Didn't really work out for them. They could have found the picks, they could have found the targets to focus down, and they ended up falling for it.
Well, that is going to be the words from the desk. England certainly have a few questions to answer here, and all that to look forward to in game number 2. We're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, game number 2, grand finals, France versus England. You don't want to miss this. We'll see you in a few moments. Welcome back to the desk, everyone, here for Nations League. Grand finals are upon us. France taking a commanding Game 1 victory in their series against England. Still plenty more predecessor to look forward to, and a lot for my 2 amazing analysts, Kat and Alex, to dig in deep and find some answers for us as well, gentlemen. We already had an entertaining game number 1. We spoke a little bit about how France, let's be honest, just kind of rolled over England for most of that game as well. And England definitely need some responses here. But on that note, you can see below our fantastic cameras set up by production, the draft. The countdown has begun. Game number 2 in our grand finals matchup between France and England. France going to be first pick once again in this matchup here. And this time, there's already going to be a difference in the ban. Severog banned first, but now they're the ones who are actually going to remove the Revenant from themselves.
Yeah, that's quite surprising, actually. I don't see why they felt the need to ban the Rev. Were they afraid that England were going to pick it? I thought the first game worked out so well. Why not go into this next draft with exactly the same strategy?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But also recognize that 7-1 is a Revenant enjoyer. So taking that off the board means that they have a bit of more play potential. But the question is, will the Severog come through here? England picking up that Severog. So it's actually England who bans the Revenant. That makes a bit more sense.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, as I said, it's apologies for that, but of course the overlay has been corrected, with England being the ones to ban away the Revenant from Neft, and with the Richter still being respected by France, allowing the Sevarog, which was banned, and has also been hinted at to just keep banning it over and over again from import in our pre-game interview, take it for themselves. But this time we get to see the Wraith in the hands of Team France, and most likely going towards Neft.
Yeah, probably. Not impossible that ECP's plays it. I think he plays Wraith too, but most commonly probably on Neft. I am excited to see that Sevarog pick from England, because I haven't seen a Sevarog in a long time now. And I want to see if it's worthy of all of these bans.
No, decided to pick up the Drongo. I wonder if they're going to pick up the Decker here. Decker being one of those champions that can deal with Terra. You have the SARS, but I don't think you want to pick SARS just yet. If you're England, you want to keep that slot open for the flex, but the Decker does come out. Now the question is, the bans here is going to be targeting the mid lane. I wonder if England's going to opt in to ban that Iggy, just trying to get... Oh, actually, they pick the Iggy there for the France people.
Yep, definitely. I mean, maybe that's what they were anticipating a ban towards. But this Decker pick as well, I was very surprised not to see Penguin running at it. Decided to go for the Zinks. Thought they could try it. Thought they could run it up against one of the top teams we have in the scene. It didn't work. I mean, we could go into reasons about why that didn't work here. But honestly, France had a lot of answers to it. But seeing Penguin on that Decker, I think England fans, if I just allow my own biases to slightly come in, I'm a bit more happy to see the Decker in the hands of Penguin here for sure. But now we got a few more spicy bans coming their way. Kalari will be taken away from England here. Nazaris will be respected as well to set up our final 2 picks from both teams.
Yeah, as far as this draft's gone, I really like the English draft. I think all of their picks make sense. The Zaras and Revenant ban targeting the most impactful champs that France had last game, I think makes a lot of sense. And they also pick up the Decker for Penguin, and he was playing so well in the quarterfinals with that. I really like this for England so far.
With that, they have the Grey Zone once more, just giving that to Rollmore. He had a blast last game. Hey, probably will have a great show in this time around. Question is, Import probably will not be playing that count as jungle. It's looking like they're probably going to go opt in for a normal mid, unless Brandon Knight plays Twin Blast mid, which I don't think. So a bit more standard drafts coming out here in terms of how you usually draft. So I expect that it would be a gadget or a howitzer being picked up here, but we have the Quang.
Definitely worthy of that pick of the howitzer for sure. That's certainly what I would like to see as well. But no, Brandon Knight is going to go for the Argus, and fans are going to round out that composition with the support pick. Is going to be a Mancu playing that pick once again. 2nd game in a row. I mean, we didn't quite get to see the Narbash late game potential with all of the healing and all the setup he can do, but honestly, France were just that far ahead. We basically got that in the first place here. So my question to you, gentlemen, considering what happened in game number 1, does this solve England's problems, and does this result in them getting a game back?
I don't think a draft can solve England's problems. I think they have to solve them in the server against Neft in that dueling. That being said, I think this English draft is looking good. I prefer it over the French draft.
2 things. Don't be game 1 analysts out there, chat. Just watch and learn. This draft from England, I think it's a really good one. They have the pick potential, they have the follow up, a lot more well-rounded, a lot more playmaking options. While France is a bit more linear, a bit more like they just run at you. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna be fishing for much. If they go in, they go in.
Well, looks like there's going to be only W keys being pressed on Team France. I mean, hey, just got to walk forward. But hey, it also seems to be getting them wins. But as the desk says, England seems to have a lot more opportunities to deal with the French team. But there's only so much we can say about on paper. It's time to head into the game. It's back to the castle for game number 2. Spooky and Lance. It's all yours.
Thanks so much, TJ, and the rest of the desk. Game number 2 is finally here. You see the draft. It's still Lance joining me to take us through this game. Lance, I won't say the first game was fantastic for England, but I won't say it was the worst game I've ever seen either. There were definitely points where England was looking good. Now with the switch up in the drafts, do you think England has what it takes to correct those mistakes they made and pull themselves back together here in game number 2?
I do think they've got a couple of spots they can get in here and make a pretty big difference. I think that having the Argus is going to be a big change for them. I think that Brandon Knight can play that hero pretty well. We see 5 of them once again, just kind of together running down to the mid lane, seeing if they can catch anybody out of place. But I do think that they've got a really good front line as it goes on as well. There's a reason they've been banning Sevarog every single game on the French side. Import going to be a huge menace on that. Kind of allowed to just stack freely in the jungle there. Nobody going to be interrupting him. So they have a mega tank come the around 20-minute mark. Quang plays pretty well into Terra as well. And like, honestly, I hate to put the disrespect on it unless it's Julie playing Drongo in this game, but I just don't think you stand a lot of chance. I think that it's about not letting Neft get too big in the duo lane, really, and Menku's going to be able to do the things to keep him alive and to peel him on the Narbash, just like we saw in the last game. So I think it's about trying to go even and stay safe in the duo lane so that Drongo can have a big impact later in the game against some of the other heroes, and Neft maybe won't be as huge as we've seen him in the past. But I do like England's composition. I think that the team fight is very strong for them as well, especially if they can't get the Iggy turrets prioritized onto the right spot, or if they can blow them up from the side of Team England. Not a whole lot of other DPS will be coming from the French team other than the snipes coming out of Neft, but we'll have to see how it plays out and who's going to get that first aggressive jungle move to maybe get one of their lanes in the lead. You would think it would be the Greystone who would do that, as he just has a little bit more ability to gank early. Yeah, he doesn't have the CC in his kit, but you know that the Sevarog needs to be getting a stack. Not a very strong early game champion, so I think that goes in the favor of Romaware and the French, but as the game continues, I would much rather have a Sevarog than a Greystone as it continues.
Now, you mentioned a number here, Lance. 20-minute mark.
I agree.
Sevarog's going to come. Oh.
Oh, I got.
You good, Lance?
I am good, Spooky. I had the wrong things muted. It's amateur hour over here. I apologize to the viewers.
Hey, we're all good. So you mentioned a number here, and it was the 20-minute mark. This Sevarog is going to come out of the jungle and be this mega tank. The first game ended at the 26-minute mark in favor of France. So I have to wonder, does England have the time that they'll need to get this Sevarog online? Does Import have the luxury of farming up and getting to that point where he becomes so relevant?
I mean, I would say definitely. I think that the French composition is... Oh, just a second, though. We've got a little bit
double
of a
gank
going.
Gross. Already has to blink out, dashes away. Import uses the blink as well. One more slap, and he takes him down. I'm aware, gonna be just fine. Under half health, but unable to turn that gank in his favor. And here comes Brandon Knight as well. Roma walks straight into the stun, but he's away from the particle shredder. The damage follow-up is not quite there. Romaware keeps his life.
Put him on the board. It was Neft who showed up in the first game. It's going to be our other interviewee, Import, showing up in the second game. Gets that first blood on the Sevarog. Gets a couple of extra stacks in it as well. So good pacing, good momentum for Team England. So you asked, are they going to be able to hit that 20-minute mark? I was going to say France's team can't finish. They don't have the push that they had in game 1. With the composition that they've drafted in game 2, and especially if they get first blooded and that Sevarog starts to get a little bit of a snowball rolling down that hill, I definitely don't think they can finish at the 24 or 25-minute mark this game. But I've been wrong several times, Spooky.
Well, hopefully for England, you're not wrong this time. And so far, they're starting off fairly strong. We saw a little bit of the same in game number 1. Brandon Knight took some early aggression, was able to find some success. The key now is for England to translate this early success into something more. And already you can see a lot more pressure over in that duo lane. England is just keeping Manku and Neft under this tower. But they had some semblance of that in game number 1 as well, right? They took Neft's blink early, kept that pressure on, and Neft is just able to keep on scaling. Now, France trying to get aggressive on a camp here. It's going to be answered back easy peasy. Has to drop the blink to get himself up those stairs real quick, be just fine. Still, England putting some pressure on.
Putting some pressure on indeed, and now 5 minutes without easy peasy having his blink here. The Orb Prime did just spawn, so if anybody can get towards that Iggy in the fight that's gonna come around this Fangtooth, they know he is a vulnerable target. So maybe they focus that. I think I just kind of focus Wraith in every single team fight I ever have against this French team.
Yeah.
Especially, like, not even just knowing who the player is, just in general. Wraith is in a really good spot within the game right now. Does a lot of damage, has a lot of DPS. Very elusive hero. They do get a cage around here, but Mankiw going to come in and do a little bit of face tanking for himself. Import on this side of the map, kind of looking around. Romaware does come in. Are we going to get a fight? Thunk misses. I think they might just back up.
Link is used by Mankiw. That's a subject that connects, and 7-1 finds the kill. It's 2 in favor of England now. Excellent position from Import, aware of where Romaware was going to be on the map. Just answers it nicely.
7-1-0 right now. They do have the priority over in this lane, but they're not a comp that's going to rip a Fangtooth very quickly. Not a lot of damage other than the Drongo that would be on that, unless they are able to get the Argus to move over as well. So not going to take the time window to look towards that. Just going to go back to farming, continue to get some stacks onto this Sevarog, who should be approaching his first shoulder pads about now. So getting that first little bonus in that passive, starting to get tankier and tankier. Does have 100% kill participation at this point in the map. And honestly, kudos to them for hitting that subjugate, being able to kill Mankiw in that fight. I really thought that was going to end up just kind of being a wash, that they were going to blow the blink from the Narbash. Not that important of a blink to be able to get, not a huge priority, but a lot of follow through, and that's why you see them picking this Sevarog. He's got that slip to be able to move himself forward, the slither or whatever the heck that ability is called. I'm blanking on it right now, but then he's got the subjugate as well. That long distance route with the engage, a lot of ways to follow it up. Big crowd control with the colossal blow as well, becomes incredibly tanky. And there was a period of time everyone was saying, hey, you know, tanks kind of suck in Predecessor. Well, they did a lot of things. A lot of people are now saying we're in a tank meta, so why not pick the biggest tank? And so far, it's working in England's favor. There's a reason the only real smack talk we got during the interview between these two teams was about, yeah, just keep banning Sevarog. They were pretty mild with each other, except when it came to this hero, Spooky.
Yeah, and right now, England showing why they value that Sevarog so much. Import gets on it, and he's already starting to show up very nicely. Things in favor of England so far. Pretty much the map pressure as a whole has been in their favor. They're doing a good job of maintaining lane control, but it hasn't really translated to too much so far here, Lance. Sure, we got 2 kills on the board. That's a good start. It's really the objectives you want to look at. It's things like this Fangtooth that you're wanting to go for. And hey, take a look at that. England just saw the easy peasy go back to base, so maybe they look to try to do something there.
They may. We do need to take a look. Although it is a 2-0 kill lead for England, they do have a 50 CS lead on the side of France. Maybe it was 50, maybe it was 30. I don't know. I'm bad at math, and the numbers are gone, so I can't remember anymore. But there's a small CS lead in the favor of Team French. You expect that. You have Neft on your team. He's going to get 10 CS a minute. Also, very, very easy to farm on the Iggy. So counteracting a little bit of that gold, we're honestly probably very close to dead even. In this spot right here. Maybe England has a little bit of an advantage. Romaware is going to catch the subjugate. Import will be able to pick up that movement speed buff from the river. So we're starting to get the posturing that you expected a little bit ago, as the first Fangtooth is up. Brandonite does get a little bit of some poking down onto Easy Peasy, but right after they do some positioning, they realize nobody can get a great one. They're going to reset, kind of just go back to their lanes. Are going to meet over in the duo side of this, but, you know, how are you going to kill a Sevarog if you're just the Greystone? You can't really take this fight. Easy Peasy does come here. They've got him kind of...
and Nef too. I'm aware. Looking aggressive here, but Brandonite coming on in as well. Easy Peasy might be the target here if they can find a subjugate to lock him down, or maybe just the Ether Crystal to put some damage down. Lots coming through from Brandonite, but somehow Easy Peasy's still alive. Not for long. The ultimate comes through, and suddenly Romaware looking worse for wear. Zone 4 Soul comes through, keep himself alive. Import Brandonite looking to try to retreat. Bond Druid comes on in. 7-1 and Penguin now not in a great spot, but the cage blocks off the aggression and leaves them in a path for Bond Druid. Moves them on back. France on the retreat. Still, these health bars not looking great, and England doesn't feel like they can go for a Fangtooth.
Oh, they're fighting on a tightrope. So many people so close to dying in that import with an incredible flash at the perfect timing to be able to get away there to allow Brandon Knight to hit the particle obliterator, hit that long range first shot on the ultimate, take down Easy Peasy, who now falls to 0-1, and it's now 3-0 for England, trying to get back into this series, knot it up, basically turn it into a best of 3 series, Spooky.
Like you said, it's a 3-0 lead for England, but you touched on the gold is not building all that quickly. France doing a great job of maintaining quality here. Easy peasy. In a bad spot. Cage comes up. He's got nowhere to go, but the blink comes up and he's able to get himself back under that tower. Tough spot for him to be in. Would this finally be a Fang Tooth? No, it's not.
And if you're an advanced player like Lance the Cecil is, Easy Peasy's flash came off cooldown like 2 seconds before he used it right there. It had just came back. That's why they were trying to get that final push on him, see if they could kill him before it came back up. The cage, the double stun into it, just barely not enough, but they do blow it again. Basically 10 minutes with 0 flash for it. Big fight going on over here. I need to shut up.
7-1 gets rewound back into the danger zone. Colossal blow hits 2 under the tower. It's just Penguin and Import. Import gets rooted down. He's got nowhere to go. The thunk was on point, but here comes Brandon Knight, bringing the crystals, bringing the shredder. But he's in a bad spot himself. Outnumbered is England. France's army is a little too strong, and all they can do is buy time. England loses 1. They keep the rest of themselves up.
That was a very good colossal blow by Import. Fortunately for Team France, Manq just a little bit closer to that tier 1 tower, so he's the one who draws the aggro as it goes in there instead of RomaWare, allows them to kind of freely walk out of that. Narmesh just heals himself and his allies back up from that little bit of aggro, but the subjugate landed onto RomaWare as well. If he would have been the one taking that tower, probably at least blows the Greystone ultimate there, so hell of a play once again by Import. It sounds like this is the kind of game I'm going to continue to say that about Import with the way that they're playing. I believe he's still at 100% kill participation. Yes, 1 + 2 does equal 3 in this scenario.
Are you sure?
Still not positive. Please don't make me show my work. I don't want to have to do something like that, Spooky. Still no Fang Teeth plays basically at all. They have kind of been fighting around this pit, seeing if somebody can get a favorable spot. Oh, Bondred with the solo bolo over in the other lane. And I think I may have missed it. That tier 1 tower is down, Spooky. When did that happen?
Morose did find an opportunity to force Druid out. Now Easy Peasy in a bad spot, but here comes RomaWare, putting her onto Brandon Knight. And 7-1 goes down on the other side as well. If you were looking for a Fang Tooth, this is the opportunity. And it's in France's hands. They're coming in. They're looking at Import. Druid makes the rotation as well. Puts Easy Peasy down, but still only 3 alive against 4. And RomaWare is pushing onto Import. Wants to take this Sevarog out of the fight. Jumps on forward and assault the gates. Doesn't quite put him down just yet. Penguin is here and Import is alive, but he's in a bad spot. Can he find a way out? He's under the tower, and RomaWare is going to take that step forward. Moves on forward. Stone for soul to reset his health bar, but that's a lot of damage from Bond Druid, and he makes him pay the piper. No Fang Tooth still as the kills roll through.
Both junglers die. 0 opportunity for either team to comfortably get in there, try to take that Fang Tooth, and RomaWare just committed, man. You gotta admire a man with those sort of commitment, or with that sort of commitment to commitment, I guess. Jumps all of the way, gives him the ring around the rosy, goes behind the tier 1 tower, walks in, uses his ultimate. Manq tries to get in there to try to get him a little bit of healing, realizes he was gonna have to take the tower. There was no way to let him in there. Ooh, a little bit of a play on a mini prime. No way Morose is going to go in there. England going to clean that one up for free, be able to claim that for themselves. I assume they're going to give that to Bondred. Yes, they will. A little bit of a play onto the Fang Tooth on the other side as Morose is able to communicate to them, hey, they're all over on the mini prime. That's a free Fang Tooth. So the age-old question from game 1, once again, Spooky, what will be more valuable? Will it be the mini prime going to Team England, the first Fang Tooth going to Team France? We'll have to find out within the next couple of minutes, see if we can get some tower pushes from Team England. We see Bondred kind of putting some pressure on the tier 2 tower over there as a wave should be. Oh no, I'm looking at this the opposite direction. My apologies. They're going the other way. Bondred starting to push towards that tier 1 tower on the side of Team France. But we'll find out. They do have the elongations to the buffs for Team France now, which I always think feels very, very good.
Right.
Neft's gonna take the full combo from Decker, but just no follow-up damage.
So hard to find a way into Neft right now. Well, Bonjud fighting with Romaware, and I'm not sure Romaware likes this fight too much. He's gonna eviscerate his health bar. Easy peasy coming to back up Morose. Bonjud doesn't have the pros to survive this one. The fire burns and the health bar disappears. In an instant, you have your answer right there, Lance. I don't think they're getting much out of this mini prime.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was about to say, Spooky. The question has been answered. No push with the mini prime, although they are going to use the rotation to try to get some damage to the tier 1 and mid. Only get it about halfway down, though, so that's not going to be terribly fruitful for the side of Team England. As that lead is starting to slip away, Spooky, it was 3-0. They were kind of in control of it. Now 5-7. They're down a Fangtooth. They've lost a tier 1 tower already. So honestly, this gold might be in favor of the French side right now, or at least it's only 1,000 or 2 difference between the two of them.
Right.
Still very knotted up. I do, however, think that plays in the favor of Team England as this game continues to go longer and longer. You'll get to the point that you've got the 400 stacks on the Azure core for the Argus. You'll get to the point that you've got the full stacks on your Severog in the jungle, and he's got the giant shoulder pads and 6,000 health and can just W key anybody. Yeah, you've got Neft, who's going to be scaling on the Wraith with the Soul Chalice and all of the different ways that he scales. Yeah, Narbash kind of becomes insane once he gets to the point that he's got enough healing power to be able to keep anybody alive. But those elongated fights, it feels like, are going to continue to go into the favor of Team England. They've got really good crowd control as well with the Decker Ball, with the Tether from the Quang, with the Subjugate, with the Dread Nova. I could go on and on and on. They also even have crowd control on their stinking ADC with the Gag Grenade from Drongo. So
right.
I do think England still is in a good spot in this, at least keeping this close. They are going to get a tier 1 tower taken against them, as now 2 tier 1 towers have fallen for the side of Team England. France has gotten both of them. Morose.
Oh boy. Morose blinking forward, takes Bonjou down. That's going to be a big pickup for him. Bonjou's been a thorn in their side with the Subjugate. May be enough to bring him down. Morose still weaving, still running for his life, and he's going to get out of there. A 1-for-0 trade, Lance. This is big for France, and this game has been slowly shifting over the course of, well, let's be honest, 18 minutes, right? It started off in favor of England, but France, they're not ones to lie down and accept their fate. Everything they've been doing has been moving towards this late game. And you've mentioned you do feel that England has the better late game here. And to me, it comes down to a matter of burst versus consistent damage, right? You've got the Wraith to burst people down. You've got easy peasy on the Iggy, try to go for that. But you look over at England, you've got Argus to drop the Particle Shredder, a more standard ADC. Now Import continues this fight, looking at easy peasy himself. Right Knight trying to find the damage, but Romaware drops in from the skies. Meanwhile, this fight is extremely split, and Penguin's got nowhere to go. It started with Import, and it ends with Penguin dying.
It's not looking too good, bruv. It's starting to fall back into the French's favor. They've got to push onto this tier 1 tower. Probably going to be able to get it as 5 members of their team are there. So all tier 1 towers for the side of England have now fallen. The French army in mid lane looking to take the tier 2 tower as well. Bondred trying to do a little bit of counter split pushing over it, but he does not have the ability to match what 5 members of the French team are doing. The second Fangtooth of the game about to spawn as well. They got all of these Iggy towers. They are turrets. They should be able to rip this pretty quick. All of Team England is coming around, though. I expect some fireworks to happen here. France might get this really, really fast, but there's going to be a fight afterwards, so stay tuned. They get a lot of action onto Import early.
He's already extremely low. Looking at Mancu now. They finally take easy peasy down. Mancu still limping away. They've lost import on the side of England already, and Roma Ware is pushing forward, looking at this backline. Bon Druid low, and Neft has found a target in 7-1. Pushes him back to Mancu and snipes him through a wall. Put him down, boys. Look at the collapse. Morose on his way, looking to intercept Brandon Knight, not allow him to get back to his team. Penguins got nowhere to go, has to use the blink to get back to safety. The tier 2 tower, the Bastion, but Brandon Knight stepping forward into Neft, looking to put some damage back out. Backup isn't quite coming just yet. They're all the way back in that lane. At the end of the day, Neft still keeps his life. A messy fight, to say the least, but at the end of it, France who takes it.
Team England, if you stop letting Neft free cast in the back of fights, you might win them.
No, we can't do that.
Focus the best player in the game, Team England. It's not crazy difficult.
5-0.
He doesn't have a whole lot of mobility. Mancu is separated from him. Find Neft, kill Neft, win fight, Team England. I'm rooting for you here. The world, other than the French and maybe the Canadians, are rooting for you. Like, come on, let's find Neft. Let's try to get him, but we got to give credit to him as well. Mancu actually just going to get caught out really quick. We got to give credit to Neft. It's not as simple as just don't let him free cast. The positioning of him finding himself into those spots kind of saves that for him. That was about to be a wash for Team France. Or I'm sorry, for Team England. And then, Neft is just kind of able to get to where he needs to be. Ends up turning that fight back into their favor. We're knotted up in kills at this point. It is now 2-0 Fang Teeth for Team France. All tier 1 towers are down. The tier 2 tower is down. The mid lane tier 1 is still remaining for Team France, but their out lane towers are down for the tier 1s. We are to the point that Orb Prime has spawned. The third Fang Tooth is about to be on the radar for Team France, and they have the opportunity to take an absolutely massive power spike if they get that.
Kills tied up at 9-9, but make no mistake here, it's France who's in control of this game right now. They are driving the momentum. They're going to drive themselves right over to this Orb Prime. You talked about it. They can get this and a third Fangtooth. It'll be a tough look for England, and they know it, so they're on their way. Looking to collapse in. Brandon Knight and Penguin are the first ones here. But oh my goodness, Brandon Knight's in a terrible spot. Has to have the rest of the team come forward, but the health bars are being melted, absolutely eviscerated. Who even is Neft? This is easy peasy, putting the damage out. Neft falls, but can you survive the rest of the onslaught? Easy peasy says, no sir, you can find one, but there's a second backliner here, buddy. I've got damage too. And they put England back where they belong.
All 5 members down for England. That's the full RGS ace. They still have the Iggy available for Team France as well, which means that they can rip this Orb Prime. Going to be able to pick that one up for themselves, the 24-ish minute mark when they will finally take it. And as we were saying right before it, France very comfortably in control of this game, looking to take it to 2-0 in the series. Should be just a matter of time at this point, and it feels so discouraging to lose that fight, particularly if you're England. They got a very good engage. They got into the right spot, got the priority targets. Bondra takes Neft out early in that fight, but the rest of the members of Team France able to come through, pick it up, strap their boots up, end up taking that fight, get themselves the neutral objective in the Orb Prime with that big glowing purple buff, make those minions very hard to defend against. And Team France, I hate to be redundant and repetitive here, but just so in control right now.
You know what the worst part of that is, Lance?
It's that it's the French team.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. No, the worst part is that England kills Neft so early in that fight. He has the Orb Prime buff now.
Oh,
he
no.
respawned right before they took it down. So he's got that around his waist as well. They did nothing with that kill. I'm not sure that could have been a worse result for England.
They could have gotten 0 kills, I guess, but
I
guess. Okay, so on this note, though, they now also have this for what is a permanent buff. They've got their 4 members of their team with this Orb Prime buff. The third Fangtooth is spawning. Because it's only the third one at this 25-minute mark, they're going to rip this so fast. It's not the primordial Fangtooth, so you're going to take it in 2 or 3 seconds once you get in there, especially because you've got the Iggy. You could honestly just plant the Iggy in front of it, put the 3 towers down, and just play zoning because the towers will take it in due time. But if they get Neft and the rest of the boys in, this is going to be the third Fangtooth. That's going to be 6% boosts to their physical magical damage, their physical magical armor. They already have that Orb Prime, which is about a 20% boost to all of those stats right now. Team France wants to fight.
Import's already so low. Look at the Fangtooth. It's dropping so quickly. Import doesn't have a way into this whatsoever. His health is too low, and Bond Druid now in a bad spot. He's getting chunked down himself. Rome Aware comes in, but he gets caged off. Import trying to run away from Morose here. Chase is now on. It's a split fight on both ends. Import goes down quick, and Brandon has to jump away. Blink expended. Bond Druid gonna get with the rest of his team. Penguin and 7-1 are here, but Neft is looking for one more shot, but it's easy peasy. Who's gonna do it to him? And a quick fadeaway is all they need. 2 for 0, a Fangtooth to their names, 8% extra damage. This is gonna be a quick inhibitor.
This should fall rather quickly. Manq doing the right thing, tanking that to start with so that the rest of the minions can get in there. This way, they've got minions to push for the core in. Still 14 seconds before Import's going to spawn, 30 before Bondred is going to come up. They're going to look and try to finish this game. They got the zoning out. Iceborne Talons comes out to buff them up as well. Are they going to focus the core? No, they take Penguin, and that's the game.
They're going to go ahead and take that core down. Quick and easy. France once again making a statement with their gameplay here, Lance. They're so methodical. Yeah, they dropped kills in the early. They were down on the scoreboard. As you so rightfully mentioned, you can put them down in kills. Their macro is on point. Their farming is always good enough that they're staying relevant and they're not dropping behind in gold.
Yeah, not dropping behind. I also like to see that, some members other than Neft really making a big impact in that, easy peasy gave Brandonite the lemon squeezy there. You see the kill scores between the two of them. Iggy 6 and 3 on that. Argus a little bit rougher of a game, which I was not expecting to see there. I thought Argus was going to be a little bit more in control of that. So shout out to Team France. England's got quite the wall to climb for the reverse gentleman sweep here.
And it's all down to a third game now. England has to win it and start their reverse sweep if they want to take this one home. The pressure now is on. Can they do it? We'll find out with the desk.
You are muted.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm glad I was muted because I started that one with an absolute tirade about what I'm seeing here. I am not happy with this one to see England 2-0 down to France. But, back into unbiased host mode, I'm going to go. What a game from France, though. Holy. I mean, I've written down in my notes, bit of copium here. Like England in the early game, they look like a completely different beast. And then I had to quickly scribble that one out because France, they started grouping up and then all of a sudden they turned that tide so quickly.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of points from this game. Let's start with the good points. Good point from England. Sure, the early game was quite good, but I also like what I was seeing from Bondrud. I think this game was better than the last game. I think he had some real impact there in the match fight, but the rest of the team just wasn't really there. Especially something I noticed is that Romaware was out farming Import, and Import was playing Severog. He really needs that farm, so that's quite bad. Like, sure, you need to help lanes, but you're a Severog, you need to scale.
I want to kind of hop on to the point as well as you left off there, Kant. It's Romaware just being at the right place at the right time. He's doing the plays that the team needed, facilitating his team, is like giving them the breathing room, and then you can look to the dual lane, and now Neft is started slowly but surely starting to creep up and just become that powerhouse that he's known to be on his signature pick, and did a lot of work. But like you said in the early game, I think England had a good strategy. They had a good game plan. They were finding these picks. They were finding these like fish gauges and getting the blinks and stuff. But it never really translated to anything but that. So they just fell short on the execution in the long run. So maybe if they run something similar back and just change up a few things, they can have a shot at like starting this reverse sweep that they have to do if they want to have a chance at the title.
I think that is the prevailing feeling here, is that game one, France take game number one, and it's like, okay, it's fine. It's a best of 5 series. We've still got another game to go now. But all of a sudden, game 2 falls your way, and you're looking at game number 3 starting to fall your way shortly here. Game number 3 is on the horizon. France are now on championship point to defend their title, and England really need to find some answers to what France are asking. We're going to have to mull that one over. We're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, potentially the last game of Nations League 2. Welcome back, everyone, to the grand finals here of Nations League 2. England versus France. And France, your reigning champions, currently on championship point. They are 2-0 up in their best of 5 series against Team England. We were expecting this one to be a lot closer than what it is, but France have turned up, and England, well, we're still waiting for them to actually arrive on the scene here. France have just been dominating every period of the game and finding so many answers to what England have been throwing their way, gentlemen. Kant, Malix, I mean, we have a little bit of a preamble before the draft here. Alarm bells are going off in my head right now, not just because I am British, but also because we're now facing championship point. No, there are no games available now for England to drop. They will have to reverse sweep to take the whole thing.
Yeah, like, can they do it? Maybe, but the dual lane for England has to show up. They need to have an impact. It cannot be just the Neft effect throughout the entire game, dominating the match.
One thing, like as I talked about with you guys in the pre-time, is like just Roman actually matching import in the jungle is not something that was expected here. I think he's done a really good job of just doing the right thing at the right time and just being there for his team and just stopping import dead in the track from doing what he wants to do. So maybe the English boys can find a way to navigate around that, or just like come up with a bit more creative way of playing. But I feel like they kind of, with the 2 different drafts, and had the same result, which means the France have just been playing that good, like through and through.
Yeah, France, as I said, France really showed up. I mean, England's saying that it's coming home, but right now, whatever's coming home seems to be lost in the post. It still hasn't reached its destination. Maybe there is a second wind here. Maybe it is in a distribution center. We just need to pick it up. But honestly, that's for game 3 to decide. Currently, his team are 0-2 down in game number 3 of this grand finals. Count Malik, just before we go into the draft, any thoughts on what Ace had to share with us?
Nothing much. I'm just happy he's engaged with the community, watching and supporting this tournament.
I hope that they will look into expanding their, like he was talking about, they want to get more involved in having Omega City evolved in these community tournaments, make them grow and make them more interesting for players to watch and participate in as well. So I'm looking forward to that and hoping that we can get a fruitful sort of cooperation to create the best competitive scene that we can offer.
Alrighty, but that is going to do it. We have got a grand final series still in progress. It's back to the draft. France, championship point. England first pick in this one. Revenant banned away. Richter will be banned by France. Keeping things simple and straightforward. They are unchanged from game number 2, but the biggest change, England, this Wraith pick, so what we were expecting to be contested, will now be first picked by the side of England here. No chances left. It's all or nothing on this draft and what they're going to cook up.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think England's draft is just going to be purely focused on whatever Neft is likely to play or not. I think that makes a lot of sense. The Rev first because he popped off on that, and then the Wraith. Take it. Don't let him near it. On the flip side in France, I love the Zaras. I love the Iggy. The heroes they performed so well on.
On the other side, we see an insta slam for that Terra and Severa. They seem to have a game plan this time around. Last time around, we saw the Terra into Saurus, that it did not go the way of the Terra, but maybe this time around they can make it work better for them. Narbash, that comfort pick for Manq. You just want your best and brightest picks for this time around when it's the final point for your team?
I think one of the biggest picks that I want to talk about here is, as the cast has highlighted, also, we spoke a little bit about this behind the scenes, but Neft is rightfully getting a lot of plaudits here, but a lot of the rest of the France team also getting their time to shine. Easy Peasy has been putting on an absolute shift and a bit of a clinic on that Iggy and Scorch pick, and also Mankiw as well on that Narbash, having a fantastic performance as well. I think France are going to be very happy with their opening 3 picks from this draft.
Without a doubt, I think France are happy with, regardless of what they picked. It could almost be random, and they'll be happy.
With the ramp,
no, continue.
With the Rampage pick, there is like a solid jungle. Rampage is still one of those top picks in the jungle. Not seen too much this tournament, which means it might just been being stepped on, but he has like the function to just have that easy engage. Now the other side, what are they going to opt in for, the support and mid laner or AD carry? That is the question.
All right, well, we are going to see the Rampage come in. First appearance of this grand finals locked in for France, and England going to be taking in that Murdoch as well, as we are seeing a bit of difference in some of the picks having to come through. That means England going to be running that double ADC comp once again, but 7-1 getting probably a hero a little bit more comfortable on. He's just not really had that impact in the duo lane, and against Neft and Mankiw, I mean, that's kind of understandable here, but England really need a strong matchup here. So for 7-1 and Penguin to get the Murdoch and the Decker, this might just be their best chance.
Yeah, Decker, Murdoch, that's pretty much as good as you can get, I suppose, at the moment. Twin Blast from Neft. I was wondering if he was going to pick Twin Blast or Kira, considering everything else was either picked or banned, but he's done very well in the Twin Blast too, so he's probably just going to pop off again.
And from looking at these games like beforehand, I feel like France is going to run away with this one. I like the draft. They're playing to the strength. They have like just a all around well-rounded draft, and I think France is actually going to take it 3-0 this time around.
Well, Malex, you kind of beat me to the punch there. I was going to say that based on the draft here, does the grand final stop with a France taking a 3-0 victory, or do we get a bit more in this grand finals? Malex, you've already answered the question, so can't. I'm just going to have to ask the question to yourself here.
Well, everything is on England to prove right here. France, they've picked what they've liked, with the exception of that Rampage, and they've proven that they can perform with it, win with it, no problem. It's on England here. Looking at that comp, I'm thinking if they can survive to that late game without being too far behind, I like the chances. But they haven't gotten there without being massively behind France. I don't like their chances.
That late game has felt a very, very long way away against France, who have been looking too hot to handle throughout this series, throughout this entire tournament, and they're trying to crown the entire thing off with a 3-0 sweep and not dropping a single game in the main event. That's the draft completed. Let's find out what happens. Game number 3 is coming your way. Spooky Mars and Lance Cecil. It's over to you.
Potentially the most important game of the series. We also have the most important guest, Lance's dog, joining us for game number 3 here.
No, the most important guest was the interview right before. I am pumped up for that Halloween map, and I'm pumped up for this English draft. The first 3 picks kind of feel like they've been the priority in the story for kind of the draft, and then specifically like the power picks, right? Terra kind of been unstoppable. Wraith, priority for Brandonite, priority for Neft, and then the Sevarog, right? They talked in the Smack Talk before it. Who we gonna ban? Oh, it's just gonna be Sevarog over and over again. We're not gonna let Import have it. Well, he's had it 2 games so far. They lost the second game where they just gave it to him. Although he did have a very good lead in a very strong early game, they go straight back to it, believe that they can make some changes in this one. But I will say, if England is gonna turn it around, this is the best draft I've seen them take so far, and I like their composition quite a bit.
Actually, their best draft, but I look over at France, and I'm seeing a lot of repeated faces from this draft. Narbash, piloted by Mankiw, has been a prevalent threat through the lane phase in that duo lane. Easy Peasy just had a great performance on this Iggy. I mean, how many times are you going to let them have the same characters, and how much of a problem we expect them to be? Clearly, England thinks they have answers to these guys. But we have to see if they actually do. It's one thing to think it, it's another thing to put it into practice. Here in game number 3, the pressure has to be mounting.
Yes, I mean, it's win or go home, right? You can either pack it in for the day and accept the fact that you've lost to France twice in the finals of Nation League, or you can stand up and represent England, come back, show them what it is all about, at least try to be competitive in this, get a game out of it. And I do believe that England can pull this one off. Neft is going to be on the Twin Blast for this. They did put a lot of priority on pinching his champion pool in the picks and bans phase of this, as they ban the Revenant. They're going to pick the Wraith with their very, very first pick. So a lot of priority on trying to keep Neft down. Twin Blast in a very good spot in the meta, very strong though, and he's paired with the Narbash, as we've seen from the very first 2 games on ManQ, who's had really impressive performances in both of them. So Neft probably still going to be quite the factor on the Twin Blast here.
Here's the thing about trying to keep Neft down, right? You can put him under his tower, but unless you're killing him and putting him on the grayscale, how effective are you actually being? Because we've seen time and time again, Neft will simply stand under this tower. He'll focus on his last hits. He'll get his farm up, and he will remain relevant throughout the lane phase, no matter how much pressure you're putting on him. It really feels like you have to get active in this lane. You have to look for these fights, for these picks. You have to get him out of the equation entirely if you want to build any kind of lead against him.
Right. You have to. And it's just so hard to do. Twin Blast pretty able to, he's got the dash, can get a little bit of self-heal. He's got the blink already. Going to be hard to get that burnt from him since he's got the dash in himself already. Actually, I want to point out it's Bondred who's actually going to be on the Sevarog, not Import. We probably should have found that a little bit earlier. Import in with the early gank on Morose, but the big rock from Rampage comes through.
Not a great look. Has to burn the blink, and it's followed immediately. First blood drawn, this time for France. Only 3 minutes into this game, and it's off the back of Import trying to set the pace of the game.
Yeah, very unfortunate. That's going to be kind of snowballed into a CS lead as well. Worth mentioning, Rampage back in, as we've kind of seen an absence of Rampage in competitive Predecessor for the last couple of months, as he took some buffs, was definitely the king of the jungle for probably the first year and a quarter of this game's existence. So kind of bittersweet, but nice, kind of to see the Rampage back, the long range stuns, the big impact that they can have. Kudos to whoever made that super sick Street Shark undertow glowy Rampage skin, because that thing is pristine. And I love specifically that it was in my price range of being free $99 to all console player or to all PC players. So shout out Omeda for that one. But we got to focus on the game that is in front of us. France already has a lead. Obviously not where you want to be if you're England, but it's been the story of the first 2 games.
England has been in a tough spot this entire set so far, right? Even when they get kills on board, they fall behind in gold. With the story now swapped a little bit here with France taking that first blood, things are a little bit worrisome for England. Still 7-1 here on the Murdoch, piloting it, trying to find some value here. But my mind has to turn towards the mid lane. It has to look towards Brandonite, right? How effective can he be on this Wraith? How often can he get out of that mid lane to start making these plays? If you keep an eye on it, the Import looking for a gank. The root comes in, easy peasy, has to burn the blink, takes a good chunk of damage, about half health, maybe 60%, call it. He's healthy for now, he's alive. Roam aware in the jungle as well. Not going to let anything happen to that mid laner.
And we talked about this matchup in game 1, as it's the exact same one that we saw. Ooh, a little bit of trading going on here. Subjugate's going to land onto Morose to keep Bondred safe. Just kind of trading their health bars there, but that is going to go into Zarus' favor, as he's got that Gladiator passive, going to just kind of regen that up. Actually, Bondred is going to reset here himself, but we talked about this mid lane matchup in game 1 because it's the same one that we saw. Wraith has a lot of advantages early in this lane. Now that Easy Peasy's blink has been expended, Import will be returning here, trying to help Import get as much of a lead as he can. A snowballing Wraith is so much to deal with. He comes from the shadows, hits you with the surprise, then the knock knock, and then the knock knock again, and the next thing you know, you're rewound, and then you're in your base with the opportunity to purchase some items, but not very much because you didn't get killed. The opportunity to purchase some items, but you're not going to be getting as much items as Brandon Knight's going to be getting because he probably would have just killed you on that Wraith. So they will be trying to do this import in the Fangtooth pit right now. Are they going to try to cheese one of these early? The rest of the members of England moving over there as well, but Roma should be able to see this. Actually, no, he's going back towards mid. They're going to concede this.
He doesn't have a single clue that England is doing this, and they finally get themselves a Fangtooth. Might be one of the first or second ones of this set so far that England's been able to secure for themselves. They've been locked out of that pit for a good amount of time. I love seeing them take the initiative here, but easy peasy. Also being initiated upon. Let's go ahead and start breathing some fire out. Oh no, Brandon Knight comes on forward. He's not about to let that one drop. Puts England on the board right after the objective. England might be waking up.
And that's a good job right there from Brandon Knight to flash forward. Make sure you secure that kill. I want to just say, this doesn't look like the same England team we saw in the first two games. Yeah, France got that first blood, but that play of taking that Fangtooth basically right in front of them, all 5 members are up. They just know, and they're tracking where their wards are and where they've got vision of and where the enemies are at. They know they can get that Fangtooth for free. RomoWare had no idea where they were at, it felt like, during that.
Oh boy, Neff gets pulled back by Brandon Knight, and 7-1 gets the credit for that one. England is starting to show up. They're putting some feet down, and they're right on top of the throats of France.
And just like we foreshadowed before, Brandon Knight comes over. He's invisible. He hits you with the knock knock. He rewinds you. You get knock knocked again, and then you got the opportunity to purchase some items. So I hope Neft enjoys the items he comes back to lane with. But don't be surprised if Brandon Knight just shows back up there over and over again. He can just continuously shut down this push of this Iggy, move himself over to the left side of the map, try to kill Neft on repeat. They've got a lot of long range engaged and a lot of ways to poke from long ways away. Speaking of that, RomoWare hits that rock on to Bondred there, has to get him off the Scion buff, which is going to donate it over to Morose. So great job by RomoWare coming there at a good, important time, trying to get a little bit of an advantage onto Morose's side as he's got to try to keep up with the scaling of the Sevarog.
Always something happening on the map right now, Lance. Even a gold buff being fought over a little bit there, but without Penguin to back up 7-1, it's going to go the way of France here. Neff's going to pick that up nice and easy. Still, France doesn't pick up the kill onto Bonjour, but they are starting to push that lane more and more in favor of Morose. The Scion buff going over. He has so much pressure over there just on account of being the Czarus. How much of a problem do you expect that to be, especially for Mondrian piloting a Sevarog who needs to scale up?
So I think that it's okay as long as they're standing in the lane. Sevarog feels pretty good in Azaris, actually. If you ever get Colosseums, you just trade your ult right back. Colossal Blow doesn't have nearly the value, the team fight value that Colosseum does. So you knock him right out of it. It cancels his ult. It's just a wash, and you live to fight another day. The longer that Bondred can just kind of keep Morose over there and in the same spot that he's in, the more it plays into England's favor, I believe. And it looks like they're going to make a play for this mini prime. Once again, all 5 members of Team France are up. They are around, and they are just out maneuvering them, and they're in the right spots at the right time. And it really feels like Import's sitting forward in his gaming chair. It feels like nobody is going to 2-0 sweep this man. He's like, hey, do you not know who I am? I'm the best jungler in this game. I'm not getting swept. And he is in the right spots at the right time. He's playing the map the correct way. And I'd love to see this. Nobody wants to sweep in the grand finals.
He's gamer stancing right now. He's got his eyes focused, lean forward. He's looking for a little bit more here. Brandon Knight coming in, doesn't quite hit the pulse bomb, puts some damage out on the man Q.
Ooh.
He gets rewound, and that's going to put him in the dirt. Brandon Knight making plays every time he shows up. France trying to put pressure on the right side, but Brandon Knight is answering very effectively back on that left, and that's exactly where we've been wanting to see it, Lance. It's been Neft who's just been able to free farm and do whatever he wants in that lane. We need this activity over there on top of Import being so active in the jungle. England is really looking fine right now.
Jeez, Import's got his crest already at 10 minutes. That's actually kind of crazy. Because the point I was going to make is Brandon Knight needs to continue
That's
to
when I
do
usually
this.
get mine.
Oh, get out of here, Spooky. That's what Brandon Knight needs to continue. He needs to come over here and gank Neft and Mancu until those crests are up. Once Neft gets this Liberator, he saves himself from one of the rewinds. Then you just do it on repeat over and over again, but there's a little bit of relief for Neft once he gets that Liberator online. Romaware in here with the gank.
Looking for Brandon Knight, but he has to blink out. 7-1 puts him down from across the map. That's the long arm of the law. But now the Coliseum is dropped directly onto Brandon Knight. You're knocking it out of this one. Import blinks away, trying to get himself out of danger. They lose a couple members here. Penguin falls as well. Still, England is fighting back. France just reminds them that it's not a quiet fight.
And the theme you see in competitive Predecessor all of the time, big fight happens, Fang Tooth spawns immediately afterwards. This should be Team France able to knot this up 1-1 apiece in Fang Teeth now as they win the big important fight right before it. Almost not up the kill score as well. We are at the 12-minute mark. We do have Bondred over on the other side of the map, probably going to get the tier 1 in the off lane. But that is going to be Fangtooth. They don't even need their jungler to take it. And just like that, the tier 1 does happen on the other side. So they're trading the neutrals, but Team France, good team fight right before that.
And this has been the story of France so far, Lance, right? Quiet early game, not making too many plays, not looking to get too crazy on things. But come this mid game, they start grouping up and they start showing what they're made of. This is the point where England really needs to have their answers ready. The early game was great, but the early game has been good so far. That's not the thing that really needed the most improvements. It's how they handle the grouping from France, the movements across the map. And when it comes to these objective fights, England's already improved those. We got to see that continue and not see these deaths happen right before them.
And that's what you're hoping for, Spooky. Of course, you gotta be alive for the objectives to be able to contest them, or even potentially kill them before the objectives, so that you can get them
the
for
dream.
free. That is the dream. We will have the crest starting to come online. You see, Mancu has that waiting for him. Gonna probably, holy cow, the one that gives you the shield. I cannot believe Sanctification. I was gonna say I cannot think of the name of that crest.
I knew that.
On that Narbash. That way, it helps with the True Silver Bracelet. It helps with the healing. You get so much extra healing off when everybody is shielding around it. Also very hard to interrupt. The Crash Boom Wallop. Shout out to Team Britain for that one. Import, Romaware just kind of looking at each other here. Import does pop the Ice Core and Talon, so if they decide to go in on each other, it will be down for it. We're popping off here. Oh,
And Van Lane already burned, but Mancu was caged. With Romaware Import in the jungle, Romaware hasn't had an opportunity to get into that lane. Import is just making sure he's keeping this Rampage busy and not allowing him to gank his duo. Meanwhile, Monroe is in some trouble, goes down to Bond Druid, expends the Coliseum, but it's not enough. Now Rampage going on and looking at 7-1. Boulder doesn't quite connect. 7-1 with the blink, gets himself out.
yeah, perfect. Blink from 7-1 comes out, keeps him alive. He is definitely dead if that rock connects. Good job to Bondred on the other side of the map. Soloing Morose, able to stop him from getting another Coliseum, or from getting any Coliseum stacks at that point. And it's just kind of been chaotic in this, but England starting to get a little bit of an advantage here and there. All of the ultimates expended over on the left side of the map. Nobody ends up falling in it as well. So those will be on cooldown. Expect it to cool off a little bit with the fighting for a couple of minutes while we wait for these cooldowns to come back up. We do have press online for every single person at this point. Very rare to see this. If you got an opportunity to screenshot that, Neft is 0-1-0. Almost never see a scoreline like that on him. Easy peasy's gonna fall down in the mid lane. Brandon Knight doing the things that we were hoping he was going to be able to do with this Wraith pick. That's why you pick it very first in the draft.
It's definitely getting its value out of it right now. First pick is a contested place. If you're going to pick a Wraith there, better be getting the value. And so far, Brandon Knight has been living up to exactly what we were expecting out of him. So far, England not just maintaining that kill lead, but they're also doing a lot better in the gold department as well. I don't know if you took a look at it when it was up. CS difference is like 11 to 13 right now. It's in favor of France, but that's a lot smaller than a 50 CS lead, and it comes from this pressure that's been put onto Neft. Speaking of pressure, Morose has found two people staying in his lane. Subjugate, not quite going to connect. The axe your will. Rock from the jungle as RoamAware has shown up, but so has Brandonite. The Import's going to get the credit for that one. Hey, take a look at this. Mini Prime up on the board. Let's make a pit stop there.
Yeah, go straight to it. Why wouldn't you just want to give... I know I've been kind of putting a lot of compliments his way this game, but just shout out to Brandonite for moving to the right spots. Big rock comes out of RoamAware there that almost keeps Morose alive over in it as he landed it onto two of them, but the rest of Team England shows up to it. They say, you can't take down one of us. We're all going to show up together, able to turn that around. They pick themselves up the Mini Prime as well. Don't believe I saw who it went over onto, but an opportunity now to put some pressures onto the lane, and it's going to be the French team taking down the tier 1 tower. 7-1 also just kind of get obliterated. The rest of the people have shown up though.
Neft blinks out, and Bonjude's here as well. Colossal blow sends him back right into the subjugate. Now looking at Manq, you got yourself a tower, but you might pay for it with your life. Import picks one up as well, and this could lead. The rewind comes through, easy peasy, goes down. This could lead to a Fangtooth if RoamAware doesn't go down first here. Already half health. Bonjude looping around, but he's stopped at the Fangtooth. They're just pushing this rampage out. This is what we've been missing from England. Get the kills and move to the objectives. That's what you're here for.
Brandonite is so happy Easy Peasy is running Soul Bearer instead of running Epoch, and I'm not quite sure if I agree with Easy Peasy's decision to do that. He also did something that I am prone to do, which feels really, really bad. You get reround by the Wraith, and then you flash, and you're like, well, shit. What am I supposed to do now? You just get rewound back to the spot that you were at before you had even flashed. They just kill you right away. This is the Team England that qualified for the grand final, Spooky. This is what we expected to see out of this team. It is answered that Bondred is the person who has the Mini Prime, trying to keep Morose off his tier 1 tower here, but it looks like we might have at least somewhat of a series on our hands, Spooky.
Oh, wow, that tower's even still up. It's not taken down. Oh, no, Bonjour doesn't get over the wall. He hits the pillar and drops right back down. Morose is keep his life. But all's fair is fair, right? Bonjour keeps his tower. Morose keeps his life. Like you said, England is really stepping things up here in the third game. The pressure has been built, and apparently England is like a diamond. They do extremely well. They only get tougher because they are hanging in there, and they're bringing the fight right over to Team France. Morose on the ropes, running away as Import comes in. Subjugate is good. Drop him under that tier 2 tower. There is no safety. They're coming for everything you have. They're going to put that corpse in a museum.
Man, maybe you should have banned Sevrog Team France. Maybe they were memeing about it, maybe they weren't, but I'm starting to think that once we get to this game 4, which is starting to feel inevitable at this point, we're gonna see the Sevrog ban. They do get in here onto RoamAware. He's gonna use the ult right away, but he's just gonna die. They kill him through the Behemoth, and just like that, the lead extends for Team England.
4-13, England's favor. They might not have a single game to their name, but they have a reputation to uphold, and they are coming for France right now. No objectives on the board for them to go for after that, but they've got tier 1 towers they can go for. Neft drops the ventilate, looking to outtrade 7-1. He's moving, forces to blink out. Oh no! 7-1 has a shotgun. Blam! Puts him down.
Oh, and I will tell you, that is a result of the way that the lane has gone this far, because Neft was outplaying 7-1 pretty significantly there. He gets him to force his blink. Nefter's the one landing the shots there, but 7-1's got that early lead from all of the things that have happened so far, and the oppression that they have put onto Neft, and the way that they squeezed him within the draft, and the way he squeezed him within the early laning phase allows 7-1 to do that. Take a gif of that, find a way to frame it, put that crud on your wall, 7-1.
He's got to be happy with that one, and so too does England. That is a monumental morale booster, and they're already feeling pretty good. 4-14, 10 kills up. Look at the gold lead. It's still only 10 in favor of France. But with everything added on top of that, the gold lead is undoubtedly in England's favor, and they are trying to push as much of it as they can.
Gonna continue to do all of the pushing that they want. They've got such a good poke comp, such good long range engage. You hit the Decker stun into the subjugate, into all of the damage that Brandon Knight can put out with that. You know, you've got the long range from the Murdoch with his passive auto attack into the long arm of the Law as well if you need to go that far. RomoWare jumping over the wall. It looks like we got a fight breaking out here, Spooky.
Yeah, Import's going to go ahead and charge right on in with them. Decker Gauge comes down. Neft not here yet, and RomoWare already extraordinarily low. Going to get rewound back into death. Import picks it up. Now, England looking to move forward. Bondruid is leading the charge. Drops the subjugate onto easy peasy. But Morose has found 7-1 in the back. Import comes back, trying to keep his ADC alive. He's not going to be able to do it. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Morose still alive, and Brandon Knight forced out as well. Everyone from England is trying to chase Morose down, but they got to watch out. They can't overextend for him. Easy peasy on the route, trying to find a little bit more. Finally, Morose falls. Zaris out of this fight. But look at these three. They're full health. Sun comes through. Penguin, Bondruid, not looking so good. Brandon Knight, not looking good either. Import in a bad spot. He's surrounded by three. Nowhere to go. Has to go on to net. The rest of the team coming in forward. Bondruid dashes in. Sun is good, and Brandon Knight puts him down. Nep not in the fight any longer. Import keeps himself alive, making a double kill. Brandon Knight on a tear. Does he get three, baby? He is unstoppable.
And RomoWare is here. The members of Team England are pretty low, but so much crowd control is just going to be able to keep the shark on the beach, for lack of a better metaphor, I guess. So 4 members of Team France are going to fall in that fight. Health bar is too low to make a push onto the Orb Prime, though. So a little bit of a look. We did get Bondruid, the opportunity to reset here. Everybody's going to reset, but the gold advantage continues to extend for Team England as they get 4 members dead in that. RomoWare nowhere to be found as he died super early. I guess technically they got 5 throughout the whole course of it. Very close to the Primordial Fangtooth spawning at this point. 19-5 in kills. Tier 3 items starting to finish for a lot, or third tier 3 item starting to finish for a lot of Team England. And as long as they don't do something stupid here, I feel like this is their game.
I've just realized RomoWare is level 10. He is 4 levels down on Import in the jungle. As the Primal Fangtooth goes down, this is starting to spell doom for France. They've had such great control over this set so far. Here in game number 3, where everything is on the line, England is not going to step back over it. They are going to take this fight and push everything they can. Primal Fangtooth down. Got to start looking at this Orb Prime Pit next.
It's crazy. Import had his crest at 10 minutes. RomoWare's level 10 at 24 minutes. Like, just a conspiracy in the difference between the two of those in this game. And kudos to RomoWare. He has been playing incredibly well so far in this grand finals. And
oh my God! Where did he go? Matthew is gone. They dropped 2 in the blink of an eye. Lands. He's been playing well, but he's not playing anymore. He's gonna sit on the gray screen.
He is, and that means it's a free Orb Prime. They already have the Primordial Fangtooth in their pocket. Now they are going to have 3 Fang Teeth, a Primordial Blaze, and the Orb Prime buff super buffed up. 24.5 minutes into this game, I was telling you that this wasn't one of the comps where France can win in 25-26 minutes. It might be the kind of comp where England can, though.
They are certainly looking to push towards it. Tier 2 towers still stand on the side of France. But like you said, super buffed up is England. First tier 2 tower falls on the right side. Got to be looking at that mid lane falling next. You already see the grouping on that one. 3 people there. Pling, pling, pling. It's going to fall no problem. They've gotten these enhanced minions to march up towards the inhibitors. It's an easy sweep of towers right now. It's just going to extend that gold lead even further.
Yeah, it's about to get almost insurmountable for him. We will be getting to the point that we've got 3.5, 4 items on all of Team England here. Brandon Knight going to pick up the solo local gold on the tier 2 tower on the left side of the map here as well. So all 3 of the tier 2
level
tower
10.
still level 10, 25.5 minutes into the game. That feels rough, and especially on a character like Rampage, level 11 is so important. The second rank in your ultimate makes it so RomoWare can survive some of these engagements. If he hits the behemoth as soon as somebody jumps in onto him, now he's got the opportunity to farm. Hopefully he hits this, gets that level up once he gets through this. Let's hope together. Come on, RomoWare. Oh yeah.
Okay, there it is.
He gets it. So that does help
At 26
France quite a
minutes.
bit. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to still allow him to be alive.
He's 5 levels down.
Especially if it happens before the double buffs wear off on the side of Team England, but it does make a difference. Being able to get that extra, like, I think it's like 100-ish health that you get. I guess that's kind of like one auto attack from 7-1 at this point, or one auto attack from Brandon Knight at this point. But still, I got the copium.
Like stun.
I got the copium for Team France. We can't be overly biased here. England is going to push in towards this mid tier 1 tower, pop the ice scorns right away, get everybody that 15% boost on top of the boost that they already have. Should be able to take this inhib with absolutely no problem. Bondra just going to take a couple of shots like it doesn't even matter. Almost full health still, probably 70-80% over here. And now they just move to the right side. They've got another minion wave pushing in here. And if you're Team France, you have to start thinking about what do we do next game, because it doesn't feel like there's much that can happen within this one. Have to identify what went wrong and find a way to improve it, because they still do have the lead in this series, Spooky.
Left side inhibitor has fallen as well here. Right inhibitor, the only one that's left. In France, they are staking their lives on this one. Import coming in from the back. Keep your eyes on Brandon Knight, though. He's got some sneaky moves. Misses the first burst. They are okay. Minions pushing into that core means that France has to pull away from the inhibitor. Still, no minions on that side for England. Means it's going to be a slow push indeed. Mostly just a stall game right now. It's waiting to see where the first cracks will show.
These minions are on their way. Shouldn't be very long. Not too hard for Team France to be able to do them, though. But here it is. It falls
Surging
down.
forward.
Only the core is left. Spooky is about to get explosive. England do not want to get swept. Actually, it looks like they're going to concede, be happy with the fact that they got the 3 inhibs, realize the spot that they're at, and that they can reset here. The buffs getting close to expiring for them. So gonna give themselves an opportunity to go make that final push after they reset, fill their pockets full of good items, big things that are going to help them. The Primordial Fangtooth is respawning at this point. Going to be hard for France to defend it, as they will have 3 waves of super minions crashing in towards their core.
Love the discipline coming out from England. The gold does you no good until you spend it. They've got so much pressure on the base. Doesn't make sense to take a 50-50. This is the game they have to win. They're not going to do something stupid like trying to force a fight as their buffs fall off. Instead, they come back to this Fangtooth. It's still primal, and they've still got an easy fight around it. England has control of the pit. France looking to make a step forward here, but it's a tough one for them to get.
Oh, and it looks like England's not going to show the discipline that I was expecting from them again, which I don't know that they necessarily have to. They can just kind of rip this with 7-1 and Brandon Knight with the amount of damage that they're going to do this, but they also had the opportunity to just wait there. But we got to fight. Oh,
RomoWare tries to jump in, but he immediately dies as a result. Now Bonjude, the focus of a lot of aggression, his Coliseum comes down. Bonjude is still alive. Everyone for England, no, they are still pushing forward. Neft in a bad spot, looking to get some damage out onto 7-1. He's doing great, but Brandon Knight puts Morose down. The long arm cuts through, and it puts a lot of damage out. Neft falls down, and that could just be the game. This, as you said, Lance, an RGS ace, and England marches towards the core to bring this to a 2-1 set.
It would take the strongest minions and the biggest core buff I've ever seen for France to not be able to do this. Dead for another 8 seconds before RomoWare is even up. Nobody else is going to be able to contest it. We've got at least somewhat of a series on our hands. DJ raises his hands in victory. Team England will not be swept Congratulations to them. And I just got to say, it felt like Import was playing a completely different game than he did before, and same to Brandon Knight. That is how you play Wraith in the mid lane. If you are looking to improve your skills, take notes from that one.
11, 1, and 8 is Brandon Knight. Has to be the MVP of that particular game. Had so much impact in that duo lane across the entire map, really, in the early game, where it was so crucial to get an advantage over Neft in that duo lane. But honestly, team effort all around. The control from Import around those objectives was immaculate and such an improvement on what we've seen so far in this set. It might have taken a little bit of time for them to get here. England looks like they are wide awake and rearing for a fight, Lance. I don't want to spend too much time here. Let's kick it to the desk and let them break it down.
Spooky and Lance there with the call. Thank you so much to you both. Celebrating, Lance? I wasn't celebrating at all, buddy. Don't know what you talk about. Must have been you must be seeing things or something like that. Anyway, if England finally showing up, gentlemen. It's 2-1 in this series. Make no mistake, France is still on championship points in this best-of-5 series, but it's taken 3 games. Now that, I think, was the performance we were expecting from this England team when we started this grand finals matchup.
Yes, indeed. Like, this is the England I expected to show up. This is the England that would actually give France a run for its money. And my prediction is slowly coming true here. But let's talk about the game itself. And standout individual, Brandon Knight. All of England played well. Brandon Knight was just on another level. That's a wonderful play out of him on that Wraith. I wouldn't be surprised if France gets the opportunity to, they will ban it if they can't have it. But let's also talk a bit about the French team. From watching that game, Morose was the only one that really showed signs of proper life. And Roma did not look completely comfortable on that rampage. I would hope to see him on another jungle next time.
But the England's draft, the strategy was like to take away the agency from Neft and also take away the Greystone from Roma, which meant that he had, like you said, he had less impact with this rampage. He didn't look as alive, wasn't really making the plays it did as the Greystone. So great way of planning from them, and then this resulting in a storm for them must be such a huge relief, showing that they had what it takes to win this. Because getting 3-0 would no one wants to do that in a final. So giving us a grand final like this is just so fun. Also, Bonnevere just being him on that offlane, just showing off. Severog was really one of those picks that was needed. Just give it to him again. I want to see more of that.
Well, definitely for England fans, we want to see a lot more of that for sure, because what we saw was a game victory against France. As I said, this game is still not over yet, but I really like how we highlighted the players that needed to step up for England. I feel like this was a redemption game for Brandon Knight as well. He had that Wraith in game number 1. It didn't work out for him, but this time he got it first picked. Still showing that England respect the pick and they know it's going to be crucial here. But honestly, this was the whole of the England team really rising up here, and France for the first time this series looked a little bit rattled in that game, but I still think that they're comfortable. Right? I'm not too concerned about France. I don't think they need to really send any alarm bells out just yet.
No, definitely not. They just need to take a step back, just think what went wrong, and then just do as they did the games before. No issue for them.
Had that 2 dominant performances before, so I think they can make sure that they get a third one to secure the bag. But it's easier said than done. It's you never know what it is. Maybe fatigue is starting to hit them after playing so many consecutive hours now, because they went from their semifinals straight into the finals more or less, while England had that break, and now England has started to rev up. So maybe it's like two halves meeting each other in the middle there.
Well, for sure. One thing is for sure though is that the Janitors, they are not here anymore. No clean sweep available in this grand finals. Looks like we're going to have at least another game to be played. We're going for a quick break, but when we come back, it's the draft for game number 4. Welcome back, everyone, to the grand finals of Nations League, and we are still here. The game will still continue because England finally decided to wake up and pull back a game. 2-1. France still on championship points. Not too concerned, I don't think, about that game. They're still in prime position to still win it all. But England have now got to find yet another win here. Draft has already begun. France this time will take first pick. Severog and Revenant will be the bans. And at Richter, banned in every single game previously. Looks like we're finally going to see what all the fuss is about.
Exactly. I really like the Richter pickup. They can do amazing things with that. And then the Wraith from England, of course you want to pick that. Yes, I really like the start. I would expect them to prioritize the jungle a bit more from France, making sure that Roma doesn't get stuck with something he's not quite comfortable with.
This can be a flex pick between Stars and Richter. I know Roma has been playing a bit of Richter as well, so I'll probably be Richter in the jungle. On the other side, you have Terra and Quang. Terra being pretty good into Richter, can negate that CCA, but I think in a sort of 1v1, Richter kind of stat checks her, but not in the extended fact. Quang being one of those strong offlaners can really do well into that Stars with those both bans. Iggy being targeted this time around and Drongo being targeted, so that 7-1 cannot have his comfort pick here. Versus, will they still run the double AD carry, or will they put Wraith in 7-1's hands?
I mean, I was kind of saying a little bit in Twitch chats about Neff would play another unique hero. And yeah, Neff is going to be playing that Murdoch here. Penguin going to get another game on that Decker. Had a fantastic performance in game number 3. I do actually really like this Iggy and Scorch ban as well. Easy Peasy's been having a bit of an easy time in that mid lane with those auto-locking turrets. We've got to see what his pool is going to be like. But he's going to be locking in that Argus. Doesn't seem to be deterred in the slightest by his mid pool getting pinched here. What do we think the final pick is going to be?
I'm not really sure. Well, the Greystone. Well, that's probably going into jungle on Runware, considering the games he's had on it. Would that then be Sorrows off and the Richter support? Making a lot of sense for France. I really like that.
Romar just looks so good on Greystone. Why not give him it for third game as well? And Richter, Mankey on that Richter can be scary. Now, the Kira is also a champ we have not seen a lot of here. One of those picks that can be really good with her mobility, can carry around those melees and just be a nuisance for them and not being as easy to stick to as you would like.
Yeah, that Kira, it's surprising to see the lack of Kira, I want to say here. Honestly, a lot for the longest time, at least in competitive Predecessor, it has been kind of a holy trinity of just Murdoch, Drongo, or Kira, especially here in EU. So to see Kira kind of fall off the map in this tournament is a bit surprising to me, but 7-1 is going to be piloting it here. But it feels to me that England need another big performance, and they have got a lot of tools available to them. Of course, Decker being going over towards Penguin. I'm expecting this Quang to go the way of Bondru, though he's got a pretty nice Quang pick available to him. Terra going back into the jungle for import, and Brandonite needs another game here. But France, as you said, Morose has got his Zarus. That Richter is now in play. Might be over to expecting to be over to Manq, and we know what Manq was like on that Richter. Easy Peasy doesn't seem to be that bothered, and Romeware's got his Greystone, so all the makings of a pretty entertaining game once again.
Indeed, I think France has it with this draft. I think they'll be comfortable and safe with this, and that England yet again needs to prove that they deserve to be here, that they deserve that 5th game.
Definitely for sure. Also with that heavy lineup of 80, they have the Quang to facilitate some AP damage, but in general, it's pretty much all 80 across the board there. So that armor is going to look quite tasty there for the France, and if they can just like get the ball rolling, if it's going to be so hard for the English boys here to actually do anything in those later stage of the game, because you don't have the best face checker, and once that Rift Blast connects late game, it can spell the doom for your team.
Could spell their doom, and that's exactly what France need to get that 3rd and final game that has proved elusive to them to close out the Nations League Grand Finals here. Before we pass to the casters, I have to throw that question to both of you. It's a bit of an easy question to give, but hey, it's very important. Does this series end at game number 4, or do we go to a game 5?
It ends a little blue.
I gotta say, it's gotta be another game. We gotta have a 5-game banger. England is not gonna drop that here at that mark here. They're going for the reverse sweep. Believe.
I hope,
All right, well,
certainly hope so.
I'm going to take the opinion here is that actually I'm just a fan of more Predecessor to be played. So whatever seems to facilitate that, either an England victory or France treating us to a 45-minute banger, I'm easy for it, but let's see if it's still coming home. It's time to go to the casters for game number 4. Spooky and Lance, take it away.
England has been fighting long and hard to get to this point here, Lance. They went down 2 games, but that last one, the game number 3, was convincing. It showed just how much fire this team has left in the tank. And now they have to do it all over again. I look at both sides here. I'm seeing great comfort on each side. We got Brandon Knight back on that Wraith. A dominant performance, a critical performance in game number 3. That Richter that's been banned away now comes into ManQ's hands. And I have to wonder, how much of a problem is that? How much does it change in that lane?
So I don't think that in the laning phase specifically, it actually changes that much. If anything, I actually think it makes it a little bit harder for ManQ and Neft, specifically because of the Kira and the Decker. Both of them small hitboxes. Kira's got the ability to dash with her secondary ability. Decker's got the double jump. You can also put that cage up in case anybody does get hooked so that they don't have to run very far to get somewhere to safety. However, as the team fights start to come, you can start getting those priority hooks onto the right target who has been CC'd by somebody, or you can get the big skewer onto somebody within a team fight here. But I got to give it up to England once again. For me, the priority for them in their drafts going forward needs to be Import on Terra, Brandon on the Wraith, and Penguin on the Decker. Penguin played a very, very good game. Hit a 3-man Riftwalkers into ult combo that ended the last game once they were fighting around that Primordial Fangtooth right before they got that full ace that ended the game. And I think as long as they continue to rinse and repeat this, and 7-1 has a hero that can stay alive and be comfortable in this matchup, which I believe Kira provides for them, I like what I'm seeing from England. And I know it's early and nobody asked for my prediction, but I think we're going to 5 games here, Spooky.
I'll have to wait and see how this one goes out. I'm always a fan of 5-game sets, but I look at Neft here on this Murdoch. Just got done playing against it. And a lot of the strategy has been put Neft down, put him behind, don't let him play the game. Now he's got this global ult that he gets to play with. And so putting him under the tower may not be enough to keep him down. He still has reach across the map, and he can have an impact anywhere.
He can still have an impact anywhere, but he won't have it for the first several minutes of this. So if they can get the oppression onto him early, the long arm of the law doesn't do that much damage until late. ManQ flashes up with it. 7-1 get a flash away as well. Neft goes forward. Put him on the board, Spooky. That's first blood in it. Neft is going to get it. So all of that talk about keeping Neft down for nothing as he's going to get the first blood in the game.
Not too surprising to see him get aggressive with this Murdoch, especially next to ManQ on that Richter. Sure, he gets walled off. Pop a flash, force a flash out of Kira. All right, Neft flashes forward. Easy kill from that point on. To wait and see how much of it impacts that lane. We haven't seen France with pressure over in the dual lane for much time yet. Roma and get aggressed on his own jungle. Bond Druid and Import in the area. Just trying to lock down that blue buff, delay him a little bit more here.
Yeah, and that's what I really expect to see from Import for the rest of this series, as long as it goes, that aggressive jungling across that river line, moving into Roma Ware's territory, into France's territory, trying to stop and hold that down and continue that jungle gap that we saw in the last game, trying to make it happen again. Yeah, France has already got that first blood. It is onto Neft. You can expect things like that from somebody like Neft, but as long as Import can keep Roma down, they can stay on these neutral objectives, get those leads, that early Fangtooth, those early orb primes, try to catapult that into it. Bondred with the sick little actually no, I do not. I think that's the worst emote in the game because it is Gangnam Style. But
dang, we 180 on that real quick.
We did, yeah. You had me in the first half, not gonna lie. But Brandon Knight getting engaged on it in the mid lane here, but it looks like Penguin is
he's the
here
target
to help, but he is in trouble.
And it's gonna be Brandon Knight who goes down at the end of that one. ManQ with the kill credit. Now 2-1 as Brandon Knight does return the kill onto Easy Peasy. So you get both mid laners. not too much of an advantage for either one there.
Yeah, kind of just both getting accelerated into it. They both Argus and Wraith going to be the type to just build that mana stacking item early anyways. So both just moving towards that a little bit quicker, probably picking that up collectively with these first backs they're getting. This is about the time you've got that 700 gold in your pocket, even if you're farming poorly anyways. A little bit of a gank over here onto Morose.
Morose not in a great spot there. Blast Seed does separate them, but the dash doesn't quite connect. And in fact, Easy Peasy made the rotation to help out as well. Be a little bit less farm for the Argus now. It means Import has to walk away with really nothing to show for that gank.
Yeah, and RoamAware on the side of the map with the Fangtooth right as it spawns. They are aware of the fact that Import is over in his red side jungle. Actually, Neft and Manq going to move over towards this 3 camp as well. Try to make them think that they're at least looking for the Fangtooth. Penguin spots them up above it, so not going to take advantage of the fact that they just saw Import gank the right side of the map and start that Fangtooth up as they don't feel comfortable being able to take it down. Going to just kind of reset, go back to our farming lanes here. France still does have, just a little bit of an early lead with that extra kill, a little bit up in CS. Import once again getting active early in this game. The rewind comes through.
Oh boy, that's not going to be good for Easy Peasy. Just needs a little bit more damage from Brandon Knight. Not quite able to find it. The rewind puts him in place, puts a lot of damage down. Still, they're not able to find the kill. And this is a much slower start for England than game number 3 was. I have to wonder how that might impact the mental for that, because that was a big part of why that game went so well for them, as England was able to set the pace of the game extremely early on. They were the ones dictating what was happening and where. So far, we're 6 minutes into this game. France leading slightly in kills, only 1 up. They're also leading. Oh, actually, they're slightly behind in the CS department. Seen a lot of movement on the map. It feels like France just has a little bit more control of the lanes right now.
Ooh, and Brandon Knight gonna get caught out in mid lane. Not quite sure where that rotation came from. Looks like RoamAware was there as well. Penguin gonna go try to soak up that experience from the minions under the tower. But France looking like they do not want to have to play anymore. Predecessor, they are ready for the rewards already. And early in this game, they are really taking it to England.
I mean, Brandon Knight was such a big factor in England taking control of that game, right? He was able to rotate out of that mid lane very early on and get a lot of pressure onto Neft. Now, Bonjuid going to be under some pressure himself. RoamAware and Morose just jumping in on him, but he teleports out of the Coliseum back to his sword. But now where can he go? He's in a tough spot with enemies on all sides. Drops down, hits the blast seed, knocks himself back up. But still, Morose is right there waiting for him. Blink comes through, and Bonjuid hippity-hoppities away back into his tier 1 tower. Keeps his life.
Does keep his life, expended quite a bit to keep himself alive there, but that is definitely worth it. Uses the ult to get himself out of the Coliseum, uses the boom and onion to knock himself back up there. The flash goes as well, but he's very pleased that he survives there. It is going to give Team France priority onto this mini prime. Import is on that side of the map. Looks like he's going to walk across the river, may try to outsmite here. He should have that ultimate available to him, be able to come back. They're going to move off of this, let RoamAware smite this away. Import, are you going to try to get in there? No, it's going to be RoamAware who picks it up, but the fight's going to start.
Here as well. Stone Force Soul comes in, keeps RoamAware nice and healthy at the crystal. Got Brandon Knight in a bad spot. The Wraith has nowhere to go, and he goes down in an instant. RoamAware somehow still alive, gets out with his life. Import trades back Morose, puts one down. Still looking over here at Easy Peasy in the jungle. 7-1 and Manq also meeting on the left side here. Along on the Lar doesn't quite do it, and Manq picks up a kill. Neft now looking at Penguin, trying to get a little bit more for this. All of a sudden, the blood has simply started flowing, and the map has turned red.
Oh, and Penguin almost able to take Neft down with the laser there. Not enough damage, just quite. Penguin's very fortunate to be alive there. Has to flash away from Manq and Neft as 7-1 does fall in the 2v2. But we have to talk about the fight that happened around that or prime pit. Yeah, RoamAware escaped, so they do still have the mini prime on the side of Team France, but Import got 2 kills within that, now sitting at 2-0 for himself, does finish the Tainted Blade, which he went first here to try to negate some of the healing that is going to be on Team France here. So a little bit of momentum coming towards the side of the jungle. Yeah, RomoWare does have that buff, has a little bit of extra stats for himself, but if a member of Team England needs to get rolling, it's either Brandon Knight or it's Import, and at least Import starting to get some hope and can potentially keep Team England into this as the 10-minute mark is up. We've got more fighting in the mid lane.
Knight gets out of the Coliseum, but it leaves Import behind. Sure, he got 2 kills a little bit ago, but now he's 2-1. Goes down to the grayscale. Lots of attention being paid towards mid, and keep your eyes over there because it's shifting over to the left side. Looking at this Fang Tooth up next. Penguin and Brandon Knight not in a position to get into it. 7-1 can't make the move over either. This is going to be a free Fang Tooth to the side of Team France.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a very intelligent play from the side of Team England to try to compete with this. Import has just fallen down. He is just respawning here. So actually, it looks like these guys are just going to continue to do the opposite of everything that Lance says, where they're going to walk in after this. Nice little rewind comes out of Brandon.
Oh, man.
They're going to be able to pick up RomoWare, which is really good for like momentum purposes. Also takes the mini prime buff off of the map for Team France, although they do pick up the first Fang Tooth in that whole ordeal.
Now, if you're Team England, you're a Fang Tooth behind, you're mini prime behind, you're 2 kills behind, but you are still fighting. England is nothing if not tenacious so far. But France, after losing 1 game, have shown they're not too interested in losing a second one. Anjud has pressure over on this right side, but it's pretty much the only place England has any pressure right now. Tier 1's going to fall down, no problem. Get a little bit of gold back in the pockets of Team England, and that's incredibly important right now, Lance. They have to stymie the lead that is building for France. And if it's going to be in the right side, perfect. Get Bonjuit out of there. He's been effective throughout the set so far. Get him active across the map and try to alleviate some of this pressure that Brandon Knight's under.
I think that is the way to do it, and taking the tier 1 tower like Bondridge just did is gonna help a lot, because now he has the ability to leave that lane, push a wave up. That's going to force Morose to have to answer it. And I'm glad that you're talking about this, because I don't think we've paid enough attention to the off-lane matchup that we're seeing in the Nation League 2 finals here. Morose and Bondred are like the 2 premier off-laners for EU. I would say, I apologize that my EU player-based knowledge isn't as peak as somebody like TJDJ's is, but Bondred and Morose are the cream of the crop as far as I'm concerned for offlaners in here, and seeing these 2 go at it every single game like we have so far has been an absolute treat. So thanks to the players for coming and doing coming and competing in this. We do have the second Fang Tooth nowhere near spawning, so they're just kind of passing through here. Easy Peasy does does dodge the Highland Hurl, but a little bit of fighting's happening. Rewind happens too.
RomoWare has come in to try to help out as well. Brandon Knight under some pressure, and Easy Peasy does not get out. Penguin puts him down for that one. Brandon Knight still alive as now Import goes under the tower, but he cannot survive the damage that is there. Bonjuit on the other side. Penguin decides to start tanking the tower up for his team, but can Bonjuit do it? Yes, he can. Puts it down. Import fighting in the Coliseum. Turn him into a gladiator as the rest of his team tries to find a way to come in and help him, but ManQ makes it first, and Morose takes him down.
Oh, and we're not done yet. The skewer lands onto Bondred.
It's skewered. He's got himself back out. He's back into safety. You just can't put him down. The twang is too good.
Oh, and Bondred having a massive impact so far in this game. First one to take a tower, comes over here, picks up that kill after Penguin doing some good teamwork, some good support and stuff, tanking that tower for a little bit. Also, Import does fall to Morose, but did survive long enough that the Coliseum stack does not get picked up, was able to get out of the Coliseum before the kill was secured. So a little bit of breathing room, and England clawing their way back into the kill score of this game, 6-7 now. Yeah, we said it. They are behind in the neutral objectives, down a Fang Tooth, down a mini prime as well, I believe. But they've got the tier 1 tower. CS actually a little bit in their favor as well. You don't see Team France being out CS by 40 very often, but it is happening here in game 4. Import just fighting every time we move over and take a peek at him. He's ready to go.
Q tries to pull him in, asks him if he wants to take a little bit more of a deeper fight. Import says, no, thank you. I'd rather be looking over here at this mini prime. Your eyes peeled. France in the air. Easy peasy on the left side. 3 more on the right. Mini prime goes down without too much fuss. No one looking to get contentious over a small objective like that. England finally has one to their name. Now maybe looking for easy peasy in the mid lane, because that Fangtooth, that's coming up very soon.
And I'm glad Team England decided to give the mini prime over to Import. With the members around, you have to kind of secure it with your hunt. But Import has had the most map presence so far in this game. Yes, they could have given this to Bondred, who already has a very big lead, to let him try to move around. But Import much more likely to be the person roaming and having an impact, getting this tier 1 tower in mid, potentially getting it over in the duo lane as well, is going to have a much larger impact than giving it to the Quang at this point. Also, Import pretty large at this point, already has, I think, 3 kills to his name. We do have the second Fangtooth spawning right now, so they have those extra stats on the Terra as well. Ooh, the flash into the rewind.
Oh boy.
Brandon Knight, you dirty boy.
Oh, that's the pick that they were looking for, Lance. Easy peasy goes down instantly. Now we can start looking at this Fangtooth. This is what that England really wants here. France in the area does have Neft and Roam Aware and ManQ all around. Defend if they want to, but you've seen how this goes. They're aware of how many members England has. They're not interested in that fight. This game is now completely tied up. 7-7, 1-1 in both objectives. The only thing getting a real advantage, CS, and the fact that that tier 1 tower is missing on the right side.
Right, and the mini prime as well. That is still on Import and this Terra, probably another 35-40 seconds before that will run off of him. We're going to get an opportunity to look at this scoreboard. The Malady is finished for Brandon Knight in mid, so he's going to start pumping out a ridiculous amount of damage, especially as he continues to get the stacks up onto that. As he transitions into the late game, he'll start killing you with 2 knock-knocks. And Team France does have a decent front line to try to stand in front of that and keep that alive. But if Brandon Knight can get these knocks on to Neft, it might be the thing that turns this and pushes us to a game 5. But as you say, 17 minutes in, we are knotted up, Spooky. 7 kills apiece, 1 Fangtooth apiece. Only real difference, like you said, that 1 tower and the mini orb that was taken by Team England here, but very tight Predecessor.
Now, tier 1 on the left side falls down, evens things up a little bit more. France not going to go quietly into that good night. Still looking for a little bit more. Penguin should be careful here. He's got a lot of people around him, and now he's on a ward, and ManQ is the one that spotted him. Good jump, avoids the Riplash. Now Brandon Knight here to put some hurt down. No rewind, recognizing that's a tanky target. Not going to be too concerned with trying to take him down just yet. These health bars, they got to be careful.
Yeah, and here's the pressure onto the tier 1. They are able to clear the minions out pretty quickly. The ult from Decker gonna go a little wide. So we have all 5 members here, but that's allowing 7-1 on the left side to just take this tier 1 tower. So they may trade it back, trade their mid for this. Bondred has a good flank. If he can get a good tether, this might be something from him.
It looks like England's gonna take a step back. Not gonna be too concerned with this right now. Give up the tier 1 for the tier 1. It's a trade you're willing to take. You already got the Fangtooth. No objectives on the board for either team to take. So it's not worth it to try to just throw your lives away right there for a tier 1. Imagine England going to be grouping up and trying to return that tier 1, get that mid lane tower down, open up this map for themselves. Just take a look at the map itself right now, Lance. There's so many wards down. You take a look at the color of them. It's a lot of France vision.
Yeah, a lot of orange tinted wards on it. You only really see those 2 for Team England right now, but they are resetting, just coming out of the base. Definitely have the support crest online as well. So expect Penguin to come through, get the Fangtooth side of this warded up, cleared up for themselves. But yes, we've got quite the game on our hands as we continue to move forward here. I start to wonder who scales better in these situations, Spooky. So I see the Wraith, the Kira, import on the Terra, and I kind of wonder when they plateau, because I feel like Team France has a lot of people that are going to move well into the late game. You know, Greystone's got that double life. You can continuously stack forever on the Zars with the Colosseum passive. Argus scales pretty well, has a lot of ability to kind of one-shot you as he gets further and further into it if he can hit you with the stun. So a lot of this is going to come down to execution in these team fights, and I think it's about whether or not England can find themselves onto Neft early when these team fights start breaking out. Spooky.
Looks like a lot. It's also on ManQ here. Got one of the biggest disruption factors in a team fight. That skewer that comes through, and even the Riplash beforehand, if they can find those picks, really set things in favor of France. You mentioned how well they scale and how much damage they can put out. They've got the tools they need to make that work for themselves. Bonju is going to try to take the fight to Monroe.
Jesus.
Lots of damage being put out here. Drop the Coliseum, try to stay alive. He's returning a lot back onto him. Long Arm of the Law comes through, puts Bonju in low, and that's Romaware coming down to help him out. Morose gets the kill credit. Now Import trying to fight into this, but he's 2 levels down. But here's Brandon Knight as well, puts a shot out. Who cares if you're 2 levels down? He got burst damage like that. Easy peasy, throws out the ultimate, trying to find some more value. Roma goes under the tower, but Brandon Knight is having none of that. You want to come to play? This is my house, buddy. Get the heck out. Neft returns a kill at the 7-1 Penguin. Now it's lying scattered, trying to find a way out. This fight is on both ends of the map here, Lance, and I just don't see a way out for either one of them.
Oh, well, there are several people who took the way out straight back to their base as 3 members are down on both sides. Penguin running for his life for ManQ here. Should be able to get himself out without too much of a worry there. But Brandon Knight with the hero roam over there, both Easy Peasy and Brandon Knight, the offlaners and junglers, showing up to the fight in the offlane, and they just kind of fall one by one. Brandon Knight, the only one surviving at the end of it, now standing at 6-3-1 for himself, has the most CS on his team, only behind Neft within the game. They've got over 100 CS lead on Team France. That's unheard of.
Now, this is looking very good for England right now. It's a close game. England has the tools they need. Now, France looking at this Fangtooth. This is the second one for them. I don't think England wants to give this one up quite so easily as they did the first one. Fangtooth goes down, but now Import already in the fight here. Brandon Knight trying to put the hurt out, but he's been Coliseum. Bonjude takes Neft away, and that might be enough to turn things in favor of England. They've taken 2 down, and they're looking to keep it going. Bonjude very low. Morose trying to chase him down, and Easy Peasy finds a big pick onto Brandon Knight. Romaware very low himself, gets pulled back, jumps on forward, but there's a lot of damage coming through. Stone Soul keeps him alive, and the ADC is down for both sides. Penguin trying to find a way out. The retreat is good, 2 for 2, but France like this a lot better than England. They got the Fangtooth.
They did get the Fangtooth. Crazy fight there. Feels like these 2 teams are exactly tied.
Yes.
Nobody able to find an advantage. Every time they come together and they get to a spot, even if they're fighting on opposite sides of the map, one team will win one side, the other team will win the other side, and no team can get a definitive advantage into this. Yeah, they get that Fangtooth. They've got that out of combat movement speed. They've got the game point or not the game point, but they've got that point of hold on a second, we got to fight.
Wow, Bonjude in a tough spot here. He is just gone. He has to run for his life, but can he get on out? He's drawing them away from the Orb Prime. That's where he wants to go. Long Arm of the Law doesn't quite do the work they're wanting it to. Stun doesn't connect, but Romaware is chasing him down. All of France is on his tail. They are after England. The fleet has arrived, and Morose finally does it. But they're taken so far away from that Orb Prime. England should have some defensive position at least to try to slow them down.
Yeah, and Bondra takes them on a goose chase, wastes about 25 seconds worth of time there. For a second there, actually thought he was going to get out, but Team France going to go immediately back over to this Orb Prime pit where they should be. Bondra, a huge factor in all of these team fights so far, as he has just been W-keying at Neft. But we have the first start coming. Here comes the Coliseum.
Coliseum comes down and instantly 7-1 is out of the fight. That's a big one to lose so early on. Morose, W keen forward. Brandon Knight trying to return the damage out, and Import still on the side brings Morose's attention back to him. Trying to find a way out. Now the rest of France gonna go ahead and charge forward. Stun connects. That's desperate for Import. Terrible spot, but he's still alive. And take a look who's back up. Bonjuit has respawned. Brandon Knight trying to fire the long-range shots over to Neff. Stun is good. Can they find it? Not quite enough damage there. Now stun comes out onto Brandon Knight. The attention has turned. He goes down. And 7-1 still on the grayscale. Means he's not going to get back to this anytime quickly. Still, England wants to push forward. They just want to slow France down, force an ult out from RomaWare. That's enough for England to take a step back, hopefully.
Yeah, and the important part is they're going to stop France from taking this over Prime, which was their idea. As soon as they killed Bondra, they went over there, tried to get it right away. Good defense by Team England to be able to stop them long enough. And actually, it's going to be them who prioritizes it, because all of Team France is going to have to reset here. But with Morose still being alive, even though he is low mana, that's going to be enough to stop England from doing it as well. And I expect both of these teams, now that they've had a reset, to come right back, meet themselves back in this pit. It is 12-15 in favor of Team France in kills right now. Do have tier 3 items finished up for all of the members that really matter on both sides of this right here. As once again, we've said it a few times, but this is a very even game of Predecessor. For being 25 minutes into it, I would get comfortable in the seat that you are in. I would get some popcorn ready. I have a strong feeling this is going to be a 40-plus minute game of Predecessor as we continue to posture around this or Prime Pit, find somebody out of position, seek for somebody who can be blown up to try to give your team a numbers advantage. But the discipline from both of these teams is showing. Nobody peeking too far or going somewhere that's going to be too risky where you can get caught out, as both of these teams have ways of just trapping you. So we'll just continue to clear waves in the mid lane and look at each other. Actually, Bondred finds himself a little pinched here, going to have to jump into the Orb Prime Pit to get away, but Penguin there to keep him safe too. So we almost had what we were looking for as far as starting a fight, but not quite yet, as we'll just keep hanging out here, Spooky.
Bonjude took some very aggressive positioning there. She's kind of scouting things out, but look how much vision is down around that Orb Prime. And as you look at that, I want you to keep your eyes on the map, because look where Import is. He knows where the attention is. He knows it's all around that Orb Prime. He wants to be a little sneaky. Brandon Knight and 7-1 on their way over to help him out. Try to get this Fangtooth down. Might be aware, though, France starting to drift over towards it. The rest of England is not in position to help him out. Bonju is still on that right side. England just trying to buy time.
Yeah,
but
not
going to go ahead and forgo it.
Not good enough actors out of there for Bondred. Got to be a little bit more silly, act like you're pressuring to try to convince Team France there that, hey, my jungler's over here. Don't pay any attention to the fact you can't see him on the map. But here's Team France aware of the fact that it's happening. It looks like they might just be doing the handshake, as England is over on the Fangtooth, looking to get the team fight buff, not the pushing buff, which I will say, I think right now I agree with. I think it's very important you don't give Team France that third Fangtooth. Bondred not going to commit Sudoku here. Gonna just kind of hopefully run away from this, because they have finished the Primordial Fangtooth. So please don't try to 1v5 them here, Bondred. Okay, he is. Here we go.
Okay. He's going to go on in, but the rest of his team is on the way as well. Look who's here. Penguin has found a cage, and Morose dropped his own. RomaWare in a tough spot as well. Import put in some damage out, but Matthew finds a big skewer, and he turns it around. Sure, you got the team fight buff, but how are you going to team fight when you're CC'd like this? 7-1 puts Mancu in the dirt, but he's quick to follow to his own grave. Import being chased around by Morose, gonna be forced out of this fight. Morose takes the kills. Brandon Knight tries to get the last bit of damage to help him out. Your eyes on Neff. He's on the return, but Morose actually goes down. What a long-range shot from Brandon Knight to even things up 2 for 3. Still in favor of France.
In favor of France, and very unfortunate because of the fact that they are the ones with the pushing buff. Now there are less people available to try to stop these Orb Prime buffed up minions, and you try to take that fight there because you got the team fight buff, and they almost had that flank. It was very, very close to going perfectly in their direction. Manq with the beautiful flash skewer in there to lock those good targets down. They blow Decker up. Neft gets the credit for that kill almost immediately when that team fight starts. And at that point, Neft gets to do that thing where he holds his left mouse button down and stays on your head, kills a bunch of people in that at 5-1-1 himself, has 5 items completed, just finishes that Equinox up. So he's shooting real fast, doing a whole bunch of damage, has that Vanquisher online as well. And it still feels like a very tight game. However, France starting to inch ever so slightly ahead, it feels like.
Viewer comes down, doesn't quite do the work that it's looking for onto Bond Druid. That could be a big signal in England to look for a little bit more aggression. With that ultimate not being around, that was what really threw them for a loop in the last fight. They can get grouped up here. They might still have a chance. Remember, they only lost 3. They still have 2 with it. Brandon Knight is 1 with that primal buff around him, tier 2. And go down, Penguin looking to get active. Big rift walk in, and that's a massive cage. Brandon Knight is looking to take some targets down. Easy peasy. First one to fall, and he's followed quickly by 2 more. Manq and Neft no longer around. Morose trying to chase down Brandon Knight, but Bond Druid puts himself between and says, no, sir, this is not going to happen. Give him the kill. Brandon Knight on a rampage.
That's what you're looking for in it. They are able to get in there, get 4 of the members down. Only Romaware is remaining, so no prime buff on the side of Team France at this point. A lot of kills on high priority targets within that big shutdown onto Neft. I don't recall exactly who it was that got it, but as I say, that France is starting to take a little bit of a lead. We've got even kills, 18 apiece. 31 minutes into this game, we will start to see the tier 2 fall down over in the off lane, but they don't even have the tier 1 in mid. 31 minutes into the game, that will be corrected at before I finish that sentence, as Brandon Knight is going to take that down as well. But a very large gold swing for the English team right now, as those death timers are getting longer and longer, and they're able to capitalize on the first real clean team fight win. It feels like they've had this game.
That was fantastic play from Penguin. It was a phenomenal setup. They lost no one in that fight. But here's the thing about it, Lance. You can only do that so often, right? Those items have cooldowns. The blink has a cooldown, and it's not going to be available for the next fight here. You have to find a way to recreate that success without using the blink. And with the Fangtooth coming up here, that's the 3rd one for both sides. It's got to be a big one. How does England recreate that?
So you don't... The pit is actually going to play into the favor there, because you don't necessarily need to be able to blink in to hit the Rift Walkers. If everybody's standing in the pit, you can double jump in, or you can hit a stun with your stun ball and just kind of walk in towards them to hit that full wombo combo. But that's exactly what we saw from Penguin in the last game, in the team fight that decided the game. Penguin hit a massive Rift Walkers into Decker ult that just stopped Team France dead in their tracks. Happens again in that fight, and then they are able to capitalize on it, take all of it down. It is going to be France who's got the priority positioning on this pit, as you would expect them to have, with them playing on the dusk side of the map. But England will be right around this pit. Bondred even on his way over as well. They have a big minion wave pushing into that tier 2 tower.
Bondred, gotta be careful.
They do need to be a little careful to try to find the right position for a flank on it, as 7-1 peels off to split and stop that wave pushing into his own tier 2 tower. However, moving away from the pit, as neither one of these teams feels very comfortable taking a fight within that enclosed area, and they're just going to focus on mid and clearing these waves down for themselves. Manq moves up, gonna start the fight, but the skewer doesn't land onto anybody. Spooky.
On Druid gets taken low here, but Brandon Knight's perfectly healthy. Now they're going to turn to look at the rest of the fight. Bon Druid comes in, Neff goes down. The Coliseum has dropped, but who's locked in with who? Import takes the charge over to France, and he's got his whole team behind him. 7-1, looking to purge everyone from the fight. Man-Q falls, but look at the back end. So the fight is so split up right now. Easy peasy, trying to fight for his life, but he can't do it. RomaWare jumping on out, but Import on the hunt. Brandon Knight right there. Snipe, put him down. And just like that, 4 fall. They only traded 1 back. And just in an instant, England resumes control of the game.
And this Quang pick has been so big for England and Bondred. Yes, he dies in that fight. He's died in almost all of these fights, but in almost every fight, he lands a tether on Neff, he gets back to him, he blows him up, and he kills him. You will trade your Quang for a Murdoch in every team fight you ever have, especially if that Murdoch is Neff. That's going to be Primordial Fangtooth, Third Fangtooth, that huge buff, that team fight buff for Team England here, as they are in a great position to take us to a 5th game in the finals of our 2nd Nations League. Or Prime Buff also up and available as Team England will move themselves over to this side of the map, probably clean this up without too much hesitation. RomaWare still dead for 10 seconds. They're going to have this dead before the jungler on Team France is even up.
Just look how quick this is melting in front of England. Less than half health. It's a quarter health. It's 10% health. It's dead. Just like that, England melts through it like the health bar belonged to Neff in the last fight. They are in such a dominant position here, Lance. We have to turn our eyes. France is on the pinnacle of a victory, 2 games down, and England is boring down at them. Their massive naval fleet in control, cannons pointed towards them. What does France do now? The line has to be drawn.
I don't want to make a surrender joke, but they're French, and it just kind of feels like that might be the best scenario here. Restart, go to game 5. Of course, I am fully kidding. This is not over yet. It only takes 1 or 2 team fights with Neff available to be able to free cast in the back of any sort of fight, or to get 1 good priority pick and completely erase this double buff. But for now, England does still have it. They're going to take this tier 2 over in the left lane. That may have already been down. I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. Bondred's over there in the spot where it used to stand, and they are pressuring in towards these inhibs. Also have the inhib exposed over on the right side, but the minion wave's on the wrong side. Gonna get the mid tier 2 tower. Look towards this inhib. This is where we might see our next fight. 7-1 does get pulled in, and immediately gonna dash himself away. There it is.
Oh, this could be big. Coliseum gets dropped down, and Penguin is the first one to fall in this fight. Easy peasy, also taken out. No mid lane damage. The Bond Druid is still up and ready. He's still ready to look over at Neff here. You've seen it time and time again. When he and Neff are on the same realm of existence, he wants some blood. Import, not looking the healthiest right now. England's going to take a step forward, break the mid lane inhibitor, and that's a big one to have down. Opens up both sides for them to rotate to. And that right side looking nice and juicy for him. Bonju already in position.
And they are actually going to retreat from this, realize that they can't quite get that. I respect that as well, and it's something that we saw from Team England in the last game as well, as this discipline. But something I just want to highlight, we were talking about this right before that last team fight broke out, where you will trade Quang for Murdoch in every single fight. You'll also trade Penguin on the Decker for the Argus, as that's what happens in that, which allows them to get those inhibs. The wave clear of the Argus is down. There's really not much other than Neff left that can clear a wave for the side of Team France. So, like, you don't need Penguin that bad. Take the inhib, take the trade of killing the mid laner for that, as Penguin did get another real good Riftwalkers off in that I thought was going to end up popping off into quite a bit more than that. But you take those trades if you're England, once again, taking the advantageous side of it, get the mid inhib down. Now you just kind of wait for these buffs to respawn or to find the next person out of position, rinse and repeat. Don't play anywhere stupid. Keep yourselves from getting picked. And we should have a game 5 on our way, Spooky. I hope I'm not caster cursing that.
Well, multiple members now, level 18. It's really only Penguin lagging behind at 15, as expected of the support. Take a look over at France. Still got a few members still trying to hit that last ult point there. Romaware, easy peasy. Not quite there yet, and obviously Mankiw a little bit behind at 15 as well. So far, things are going well for England. After a rocky start, they have pressed the gas and they've found a way back into this game. 2 inhibitors still stand. Take a look at the map here first, Lance. Fangtooth, gonna be coming back up. Not around England anymore. You gotta imagine they want to fight here.
Yes, I think that is what they are looking for. They did just walk over a ward here with Import and Penguin. Going to clear that up really quick, but really they are just making sure that they've got this cleared out and they've got the inside track for this. Still about 25-30 seconds before Primordial Fangtooth is going to spawn. So you just push the waves, get them to the spot that you want them at. If Bondra just keeps Morose over here, that also plays into the favor of Team England, as Morose with the Colosseum, quite a good team fight ult. So if that's not available, it's really the only thing that can stop Terra on the side of Team France. And Bondra has the ability to get aggressive onto Morose over here, as he's kind of been giving him the hands this whole series.
Here's the question, though. Bondruid has also been the one handling Neft in these fights. He's been the one going in deep and taking him out. In the 4v4, without Bondruid present, what is England's answer to this Murdoch?
The answer is the Terra. You just push the ult button and walk directly towards it. But if Bondred is able to pick Morose up here, which it doesn't look like he's actually going to be able to do, then he can just go back to his side of the team, which I actually don't expect from Bondra. I think Bondra should continue to push here, but we've got a little bit of a fight breaking out as the
7-1 under some duress, but Romaware in a bad spot as well. Jumps back down to safety. Mankiw pulls one in. Skewer comes through, but it's not 7-1. He's still able to put the damage out, but Neft puts Penguin down, and just like that, keep your eyes out. Bondruid on the rotation coming in. 7-1 says, I don't need a Quang to do my job. I'll take Neft myself. And you know what? Make it the full dual lane. Mankiw, more like dead guy. I don't care. Move it forward. Run it down. Everyone said only Morose is still up, and every member that England needs is ready and willing to take the core. Lance, just like that, England makes a statement. A Colosseum? Who cares about a Colosseum? We're here for your core, and you haven't locked us out, buddy. Take your life, take the game, 2-2. This set is high.
Oh, and you just love to see it. Everybody wants more Predecessor. Team England standing their ground. You know, you may have had us in the first half. That was a joke. Here we are, 2-2 going into game 5. DJ's got to be the happiest lad across the pond right now. Spooky, what was the difference in that game?
Bro, you tell me, Lance. All I know is we're looking at a 5-game set here. It was a 5-game set the last time these teams clashed, and it really just feels like Brandonite has been popping off these last 2 games. We saw France try to put pressure on him early on, and you know what? It went well. They got some kills, but they couldn't keep him down, Lance. He just kept coming back.
He just keeps coming back over and over again. France might want to have to reconsider their strategy, but for strategy talk, it's time to throw it back to the desk, who might be able to break that down better than me and you.
Yes, Lance, I am very happy right now. No, I'm host, unbiased. Welcome everyone to the desk. Cat and Max alongside me here. I think it's fair to say, lads, that after game number 2, with how France absolutely dominated England, I don't think any of us were expecting to be here, and yet somehow, somewhere, England have pulled it back. 2 game wins back-to-back sends us to only the 5th Game 5 in a best-of-5 series I think we've ever had in competitive Predecessor. Nations League 1 was one of them, and now Nations League 2 will be the venue for the next one as well. Talk us through that crazy game, guys.
Yes, this is exactly what I wanted in Game 5. But if we just focus on Game 4, I want to bring attention to the farms of both teams. Like, when we got a bit into the game, we could see that France was lagging England in farm quite regularly throughout this game. When they were minus 40, actually Neft was leading with 30, so it was even worse for the rest of the team. And then when this escalated to France being behind 100 farm overall, Neft was leading with 50, 70. So his team just didn't get any farm that game. England just completely outfarmed them and won from there.
feel like also that England, like Brandon was the anchor that England needed in this game. He was so consistent and just kept them on the board for so long. It was looking kind of dire there for a moment for the English boys there, but they locked down, they weathered the storm, and they came out swinging ahead and brought us to game 5. But I do think both, actually for both teams here, I felt that the dual lanes have been a bit irrelevant. It's been a battle between the mids and the off lanes, and with the eventual help from the jungle as well, that it kind of helps create the lead wherever it's needed. So I feel like if we can get the dual lane maybe more involved and more focus onto Neft, get him a bit more priority hero, then maybe the friends can take it home.
We know that Neft, of course, is one of the power carries for France, and also one of the power carries in the game as well. But that game, he was nullified completely. The dive from England just seemed to be too good, and it seemed to be just a bit of a switch, a bit of a change. Lance said under cast that sometimes, hey, that Neft guy's pretty good. Maybe we should just keep on diving him. And Bondrewd understood the assignments. I think a lot of those team fights, it was Bondrewd just pinning down Neft consistently with that tether, Import providing the damage, and 7-1's just happy to provide some, provide all of the damage, all of the vengeance coming in for the rest of the team. And we can't forget Brandon Ice, of course. That Wraith first pick is completely validated now from those 2 games. And now, I said to England, I said to you guys after England's second loss, alarm bells are starting to ring right now. Alarm bells might be starting to ring for France now, because this is a potential full reverse sweep. They need to get back control. What do they need to do?
Okay, first and foremost, I actually don't think they will need the alarm bells. I think this game was very close, and that France very well could have won this game. Now, what they maybe should do is reconsider their ban and draft. I think they are allowing Import to have too much impact by picking the Terra, and I also think they should address the mid lane more directly. Maybe don't allow that Wraith.
Talking that Wraith would definitely help them in these games, because he has been looking like an absolute menace on that Wraith. It's also a bit of a hard situation for the French to be in, because they were 2-0. They had one game, they just needed one game to take it home. But losing 2 games back to back can be such a blow to the mental state, especially when you feel like went into the first loss that was just a stomp, and this game that was so even. It's like you might just feel like you're being slowly strangled out of what do you do? How do you play? You might lose the footing, the ground underneath your foot.
Well, now that we're in this situation, 2 games apiece, this game 5 essentially becomes a best of 1 now. That's what both teams really need to do here, is to forget about everything and just come down to one final core destruction. And I can finally say we're a bit of finality here as well. For the last time, we're going for a break in game number 5. You do not want to miss this. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back in a few short moments. Welcome, everyone, my friends, to Game 5 of the Nations League 2 Grand Finals. England versus France has gone the distance. France took a 2-0 lead, but England power back 2 back-to-back wins to set up a final deciding game number 5. The draft is straight into it. We're not going to mess around with preamble, no predictions. We're just going straight into this draft because we want this game to conclude. Kant and Malix, you're going to be alongside me for this one once again for one more time. We had a bit of talk behind the scenes about what France should do. They have the first pick. What do they need to change?
I think they should let the Sev go, ban Terra, pick Wraith. Just deny that those are stable heroes from England. Let them have the Sev.
They're opting in for a Decker ban, which is a bit surprising here. That means the server probably going to be left open unless France have something up their sleeve about that Several themselves, but no, they first begin the Wraith here. They just want to make sure that might just be Richter and Several going over to the team for the side of England here. Those are two extremely strong picks.
But we haven't seen Penguin on that Richter. It will be taken away from Manque as well. But that Wraith, one of the picks you highlighted. But England, of course, this is the problem. You only have one ban. You only have one pick. So you had to leave something available. And looks like that Terra going the way of England once again. For the 5th time now in this series, Terra has been given over to them every single time. Has been played in the jungle, has been played in the off lane as well. England definitely going to be happier about this one here, but France, this draft is still early on, and there's nothing they can really leave here right now. I like the Decker ban. I think Penguin, that engage under the tier 2 tower about 30 minutes in was absolutely insane. I think it's criminal that he's not had that banned against him, but France are going to take away a power play. They're going to take away the Sevarog away from England as well, locking at Iggy and Scorch early.
Okay, that's very interesting, actually. I think that Richter might actually be going into the off lane, but I'm more focused on the France here. I really like that Iggy and Scorch pick. I think that is just what ECPC might need. He's had some good performances on that. His Argus has been a bit 50-50. I'm not sure who the Sev is going on. I don't know if Roma plays that in jungle. I can't imagine Moreau's playing it that much, though. Doesn't seem like his style.
That is going to be the thing that we have to get into draft to see. But the SARS is still left open, and we've seen Monroe's really liking that SARS. It might just be the pick that they're looking for. But on the other side, what do you ban out here? I think the Grayson would be a great ban, forcing maybe the pool off Roman were to be pinched a little bit more, because I think when he's not on Grayson, he's been looking a bit more weaker here. So that might be the strategy for the English boys there.
But saying that, there is a bit of a hurdle that has been crossed, is that Roma Ware did have a game on Greystone in game number 4, and he did lose with that. So maybe England have got an idea here. They're going to take away the Narbash away from Manque, really try to stretch that supporting pool as well, and even taking the Bellica as well. So Manque's support pool really has been pinched here. The Drongo was taken away by France for 7-1, so he's got some options here, but 7-1 has been playing a few different ADCs here, but maybe we might even have to see a traditional mage come out here, or maybe an ADC for him as well, because that Bellica going most likely into that mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at this England draft, and I'm like, even if you're Sevarog, if you get hooked, you're gonna get stun locked till you're dead. It doesn't matter what character you are. If you got full armor, you're dead. That's just infinite stuns. And then a Crunch pickup. That has to be an offlane, right?
Crunch and Howitzer are being picked up on the other side there. That is actually crazy being picked up there. Now we have not seen the Howitzer in this final yet, so this might just be the wild pick card.
Wait. This is Howitzer support, right?
Yep.
This is
Manque
a
plays that.
special. Manque plays Howitzer support. He does not bring this out very, very often. But in a Game 5 of the Grand Finals, this is probably the time to do it. Kira, the final pick coming in for England to round out their composition. Wow, okay. There's quite a bit to break down here, so let's go through it.
Okay, first of all, France is bringing the spice here. I'm going to burn myself eating this. I'm not sure I like the Crunch. I think Crunch might get bullied here. Maybe not. If it goes into the Richter, I don't know. Not really. I don't really think Crunch is that strong in current meta. But I think this game will depend purely on how the French duo lane performs here. If they can use that extra DPS from the Howitzer, combination with the Wraith, that really long reach, and we dominate that duo lane, I think they have this. If they can't, well, it's coming home.
It's coming home.
Might be coming home. We're not far off to finding that out, but it could also be a bit spice from England here if they want to maybe spice up and put Sinks mid and just make it interesting here and have that Bellica on that dual lane to have a bit of a mid lane matchup on the support role. So it could be going anywhere. This game is definitely a 5-game banger if I've ever seen one from the drafts.
I mean, game number 5, everything's on the line here. Sometimes you have to bring out something spicy here. Malix, I did interrupt you, and I do feel slightly bad. So in my next rotation, we're going to go straight to you and then bring it back to Kante just to reset a bit of balance there, as I had to get over the Howitzer support here. There's still a lot to digest here, with the Sevarog. I'm looking at this Crunch pick, though. Crunch into that offlane, so I'm expecting, Roma Ware to be on the Sevarog jungle, which will be how I think this would kind of go here. Morose definitely feels a bit more of a Crunch player than a Sevarog player, at least. And I think with how this game has been going, we've talked a lot about the dual lane, talked a lot about the mid lane, but Bondrewd versus Morose, that has been a titanic matchup here.
It definitely has, and I know for a fact that Bondrewd has played a lot of Richter, so I'm expecting that Richter might be going into the offlane, but also Import is one of those people who like to play the Richter jungle, pretty good at as well, but he has had a phenomenal game on the Terra. I think from this draft, I can't actually put anything into it because I feel like there's so many wild cards going into that France draft just from the players and the pick that went in there. But I want to give it to England. I think they're going to come take it home here.
I think I will have to agree with you here. I think France cooked, and I think they've burnt it. I don't see Crunch performing well in that off lane, and also I don't think Roma will outperform or even match Import in the jungle on that Sev. Now, I'm open to being proven wrong. I love some spice. I would love to see France perform well with this, but I have to give this to England.
Okay, sorry. It just sounds like some on production. I think they're having a fight with their keyboard in our ears. I don't think you guys can hear that on stream anyway. That's just gonna take us out of the loop here for that one. But anyway, might be the sound of the alarm bells ringing for both of these teams. Game number 5 heading away. Right. I just want to see this game, so I'm gonna go for a very quick pass here. One more rotation, and I just want the team. Which nation wins this game? Who wins Nations League 2?
England.
France.
This is split desk. Maybe I should break the bias here. Is it coming home? Yeah,
it's coming home to your neighbors.
Let's be having it. Right. Okay, no, that's my bias gone anyway. For the final time tonight, game number 5. Only the 5th time in Predecessor competitive history we have gone all the way the full distance in a best of 5 series. Nations League 1 was one of them. Now Nations League 2 will be another. Spooky, Lance, you guys have been absolutely stellar. I'm going to need you to do it one more time. Take us through this final game.
Oh, I'd love to do it more than once, but this is the finale. This is all we get here, TJ. France and England coming out the gates. France, certainly with a unique composition here, Lance. We've heard is howitzer support, piloted by ManQ. Talk to me a little bit. What are you expecting to see in this lane? Is it the tech that France needs to bring Neft back into the forefront and get him through this game?
So the first part of the equation is taken care of. You put Neft on the Wraith. That is always going to be good. So we don't have to worry about that. This is the thing. If they cannot get consistent poke down, Zinx is just going to sustain all of the little bit of poke that they can. So they have to be landing everything. The knock-knocks, the R2000s, they have to be consistently landing, or Zinx is going to be able to just sustain that through for them. If they get ganked early by Import, who is not a stupid man, Import recognizes that if that lane gets set behind, they have no chance. The Make It Rain also pretty countered by Zinx's ultimate. You know if the Make It Rain is coming down, that person is going to perish. You can just push R on them. They come back up. Now that ultimate is off cooldown. Now that Howitzer is back down on the ground. We can look at this from the other angle as well, though. If Neft and ManQ get ahead early, the damage that can put down is insurmountable. Howitzer with a bunch of damage on top of you, probably going towards that like Marshall first to give a little bit of extra attack speed to both of them as well, can just blow them away. And if the boops are landing, they're getting knocked back towards Neft, they're getting knocked back towards ManQ, and the poke continues to rain down, then there's really not much that 7-1 and Penguin are going to be able to do about it. But it's going to be a story of who gets ahead early in that, and I think that it's going to be very one-sided, either direction, honestly.
A lot of conversation has been around the duo lane in this entire set so far. And now, feels more than ever, the pressure is really on, and all eyes are on that lane. Likely to see some pressure in favor of France in the early game, but Import decides to make his trip over there and start getting rough. This right side, Bond Druid now on Richter. A little bit of a different look than the Quang we saw. Not quite as dive heavy, but certainly very CC heavy.
Very, very CC heavy. And honestly, although it doesn't quite have the range that the Quang has, the ability to just push your blink button, get back to where Neft is at, and push R and hope that your team can follow up from that position is still present for Bondred. You can still just be the hunter of Neft in situations like this. Another thing that we have not focused on yet that I think is very worth doing, as Import actually going to come in for the first gank. Huge whiplash.
Yeah, he's going down. Morose going to be the first blood. That's in favor of England. You can see over here, Romaware on this left side. He's not going to find any opportunity to go in. Instead, looking for a steal.
And that's unfortunate for Morose, as Bondred is going to have the lane. Oh, did Penguins? Or wait, did they steal that?
Penguin secured those.
Oh, good for Penguin if he did do that. 7-1 taking a lot of poke. But I wanted to say, Morose on a hero that can really make a big impact on Crunch, but very, very tough if you get set behind early on Crunch to continue to have that impact. Ooh.
Oh, what a stun. 7-1 under the tower. And you see Manq flash out. He finally gets the kill. Manq very low, but there's no one around to punish that aggression. This is something you were worried about, Lance. This lane gets out of hand. If Manq and Neft get rolling, it could be hard to stop.
It could be very hard, but here comes Import again over here onto Morose. Bondred should have the Whiplash in just a second. Does hit it. Import 2-0 already. And I keep wanting to say it, and I keep getting interrupted, but Richter, very good into Crunch. Crunch, very, very bad from behind. If you can't just run into somebody, get your whole combo up, which you can't do on Richter anyways, because of the fact he's got a melee range silence he can just put down onto the Crunch. Morose is going to be behind for quite some time if he can't get some up here. Also, Brandonite, this Bellica pick, the enemy team for France has a bunch of casters, a bunch of people that want to be using their abilities frequently. The mana drone should be zapping people in team fights so much.
Yeah.
It's going to be very oppressive into Wraith as he hits the knock knock or the who's there or whatever that surprise I don't remember what it's called into the double knock knock. That's 3 abilities. That's 3 procs on that if you're not able to take that drone down early. So the more I continue to look at this, yeah, France got a little spicy with their draft, but England's just looks like they've got the answers to everything that they're going for. Morose is going to get ran down again here.
Oh man, he's in a bad spot. Pulled back into Bonjuid. Just needs one more hit and he's going to find that one. Bonjuid is just on a tear over here, but Romaware has made an appearance on the left side. Penguin goes down, but Import is also here. He doesn't need to help Bonjuid anymore, but Romaware has to use the blink to get out of danger. He's fine for now. Still, this game, we're only 5 minutes in, already 5 kills on the board.
And it can't be overlooked what you said in the middle of that call there, Spooky. He doesn't have to help Bondred anymore, so that allows Import to be able to play to the other side of the map. Romaware should be paying attention over that. He needs to let Morose get into this somehow, some way, even a little bit. And now Import can just completely ignore that side. He can go vertical on his blue and the enemy's red side jungle, get all of his farm from over on that side. Oh, Morose is going to try to pick a fight with him here. Romaware is over here, just like we predicted.
Some help. Bonjuid has to blink away, avoids the subjugate. He's going to keep his life for now. Has to burn some safety, but you'll take that every time.
And there's Romaware on that side of the map, like we said that he needed to be. So Import allowed to play on the left side, the priority side, and now he can get this Fangtooth because of the fact that they have to pay so much attention to Bonedred because he's so big already. Good job to him by taking all of this attention, all of this priority. England already starting to get themselves out to a pretty decent lead. It is 3-2. Neft has gotten a couple of kills. Manq got one himself too. But Import can now just kind of camp this howitzer, camp this Wraith, as I would expect from him, as he's over here by his 3 camp, gonna make an appearance.
The pace of this game is blistering, and Import comes right on in. You can drop the landmine, but Import's coming with you, baby. 7-1 picks up the kill credit for that. Neft trying to get on out. The stealth will not keep you out of sight for long. Still under duress, gets back to his tower. Lance, I said it once, I'm going to say it again. The pace is insane. Mid-air skewer catches Morose, and he's looking for just a little bit more. Riplash should still be available. Gonna look to go under the tower. Just walk him down. Take the kill credit. Oh my God. Wait, it's still going. Romaware in danger. Penguin gets the kill as well. What is happening, Lance?
Oh, so I know the French are known for their culinary skills, but as Kant was saying, they definitely burnt what they were cooking here. They got the wrong spices in. This is not what you wanted to see early game. If you were a French supporter, Neft is going to pick up the kill in Penguin in the aftermath of that while I am disrespecting the French culinary skills. Neft says, you cannot do that. Here's a kill for our team. But I'll be real with you. I think that this is going to start to get pretty one-sided for Team England here. The mechanical prowess of the players of France might be able to keep them in this and potentially squeeze this game out for them. but England in the driver's seat here. Bondred just kind of killing Morose whenever he chooses, able to just continuously run him down. Here comes Import into the mid lane.
Man, easy peasy. Starts breathing some fire, but it cut pretty short there. Import takes a step back out of that tower. Roam aware and Morose making the rotation. Subjugate is good. Blink might be a little bit better there. Import gets himself to safety. And keep your eyes out. Bonju is still on that right side. Mini Prime might be looked at here.
Yeah, that is going to give the pathing the priority on that side of the pit to Team France here. Bondred is going to come here, but I think you need to be careful here, Bondred. That is quite the numbers advantage for the French. He is going to be able to just turn around and walk away. Doesn't have the blink available, as he did use it to dodge the subjugate only about 2 minutes ago. But let's take a look here. Pretty big early CS lead for Team England, up 50 CS on them right now. Up over Team France right now. 7-1 also on the left side of the map, doing free farm all by himself, soaking up some solo XP, some solo gold, gonna get a little bit of hits onto the tower. And as we continue to look over here, they gave this mini prime over to Morose, and like, I guess you need to get some more gold funneled into the crunch, but he's so far behind, I'm not sure if that's the right decision, as if he gets into a bad spot, Bondred will just kill him again, and then that buff is completely gone. But it may give him the opportunity to defend his tier 1 tower a little bit.
Oh, easy peasy. Might be in some danger. Import looking to run him down. And next, Romaware is here. Drop some fire in a turret.
Bondred.
Bad spot for the jungler. And it's Brandonite who finds the kill on that one. Another one to the mid laner. Lance, this game has been brutal so far. If you're a France fan, the good news is that Neft is picking up kills in that left side. He's been an important part of the team. Everywhere else, it's England taking some wins everywhere.
Man, it is looking like early history of the way that England is just controlling the map right now, just kind of taking claim to the entire ground. Bondred here gonna start a fight against Morose, and just kind of like what we were talking about, that he does get the blink out. So Morose, although he has the mini prime, not able to stand up to Bondred here.
Now he's still going to be just hiding under his tower, not able to step up to Bondred, who's just out trading him at every turn here, Lance. And, you know, we've talked a lot about Bondred. I want to take a quick step back. We might have to hold on to the thought because Mancu and Roma are here. There's no tier 1 tower on this side of the map for this duo lane. 7-1 gets pulled in immediately, cut down, but Neural Regenesis keeps him alive a little bit longer. Import and Penguin are here. Can 7-1 survive the onslaught? He's putting damage out, but Neft takes him down. Import looking to try to turn things around. Easy peasy makes the rotation as well. And in an instant, France gets a couple kills to their name. That's a big one for them.
Yeah, gonna take control of this side of the map. Also, it's gonna be Import who falls. So as this Fangtooth is going to spawn, Team France gonna be able to just go over, plant their flag right in the middle of that pit, take it for themselves, knot us up at one Fangtooth, a pit here, in the pit here. And just like that, it is going to be at Morose all the way over here to help them secure that as well. And I like the move from Team France here. As you see on the minimap, Neft has moved over to where Bondred is. If Neft can avoid getting hooked, he can poke Bondred out, try to counteract some of that giant lead that Bondred has right now, because they are putting their 3-0 and 2 Wraith over to face the 2-0 and 3 Richter. He's also got about a 20 CS lead on him, and Bondred's not going to be able to stay in lane with Neft. He's going to have to move away from him. Actually, as I say that, Neft is going to move over, probably pick up his own red buff here. So, thought they were cooking. Once again, French food's overrated, I guess.
I mean, I was on your side there, Lance. I did think that they were going to stick with it. I really liked the idea. Unfortunately, it seems France just going to leave Morose over their confident in his abilities to maintain and not fall into a deeper deficit. Neft has been doing well over here, but I want to circle back to what we were trying to say before. 7-1 has also been putting up a very good performance. I know a little bit earlier we were talking about maybe want to see Julie come back in on the Drongo and help things out a little bit when England was down 2-0. 7-1 has really stepped up and really matched the expectations for this set so far. Crucial piece of the puzzle here And I really want to make sure that England doesn't let him get forced out. If they let this Kira fall behind and let Neft kind of take over that lane, things could start to look a little bit rough. Where do you think the answer is now? What's England's next step to reassert control on this game?
I think that they need to just continue to do what we saw from them until about the 9 minute mark, where they need to just continue to have import sit around where that duo lane is at. Play around Brandon Knight, play around 7-1 and Penguin, because Bondred is in control. He just took his tier 1 tower. He had a mini prime into him, and he just continuously pushed Morose out while he had the mini prime. He's got a 2-level advantage over Morose right now. Just got his tier 1 tower. Oof. Just continue to farm your important people. Brandon Knight gonna get rewound. Hit a really good blink up. Yeah. Gonna be able to keep himself alive. But yeah, you just continue to play around the people that you need to keep safe. Let 7-1 sit around, get a little bit of solo XP, get a little bit of solo farm like he's doing right now that he's not having to split with anybody. And you just kind of wait. Eventually, he's going to do a whole lot of damage, and it's going to be hard to get through. Bondred hits another good ult.
Oh man, Roma in some trouble. Brandon Knight going to pick up another kill there. RomaWare has been struggling in this match so far. It feels like everywhere he goes, England has somebody there to just start harassing him. We saw a good rotation from him on that left side in that fight in the duo lane. It seems like anytime he's trying to path through the jungle or on this right side in general, Bond Druid is just there to throw a wrench into his plans. He's going to go ahead and step up into this jungle here and force Morose away from that camp too.
Yeah, but I mean, Bondred can go wherever he wants to right now, especially if they have any idea where Easy Peasy or Manq is at, because who else is really going to come over here? They had just taken care of the Sevarog. They know he's not coming. Bondred really, really far ahead. I can't stress enough. If somebody gets hooked, he is just going to blow them up with the help of his team. Import over here on this side is Morose actually trying to come towards it. Neft here to try to do it as well. A big shutdown might be able to come to Neft if they're able to get it, but Import shows up.
Man, Penguin is here as well, and Import puts Morose down. Lots of damage comes out onto Bondjude, but he's still alive. Import running forward, trying to take him down, but RomaWare in the back puts Bondjude down. Import now getting very low, and Neft is still full health. Brandon Knight tries to change it with the help of 7-1. Everyone has made the rotation to the right side of the map, and it goes the way of England, France. Multiple casualties. Manq the only one alive. This is a mini prime for sure.
Yeah, free mini prime, only Manq surviving on the support howitzer, who is in the full retreat mode by the time that the dust is all settled on that fight. And that's kind of what I expect to see happen in these team fights, Spooky. They don't have an insane amount of crowd control, especially with as far behind as this crunch is. Yeah, he can try to get those engages. He can try to get the big uppercut, knock one or two people up. But the thing is he's so far behind, they're going to kill him in only a couple of shots with the level differential between Crunch and the rest of the members on this. As you see, Morose, they've got it blocked by the grand finals, but he's 0-5-1, hardly worth a super minion. RomaWare's got 49 CS in 16 minutes.
And that is a tough look, to say the least. France is struggling right now. Neft has been a spot of hope for them. RomaWare trying to make the plays as well, and Easy Peasy's definitely got the damage to follow up on. Like you touched on, the CC that comes out from England is just a little bit stronger, and it feels like that's what France is missing right now. I'm not sure that this howitzer support is getting them where they need to be with the Fangtooth up and England funneling in. This is their time to shine. Can France put their foot down? Riplash goes wide onto Neft, and Bondjude gonna play the bodyguards. The Fangtooth goes down. Now France looking to surge forward, and suddenly everyone's split up here. RomaWare looking to put the hurt on, and Manq from the skies puts one down. Brandon Knight in a bad spot. He trades his life out. Neft puts Import in the dirt, and suddenly England has lost 4 members, I'm sorry, as Bondjude also goes down. France may have lost a Fangtooth, but they won the fight.
Okay, this is a testament to how skilled just the players on Team France are. They are so far behind in cold, but RomaWare with a giant colossal blow there. Yeah, he ends up dying because he's only got 50 CS and he doesn't have any tank stats right now, but he makes the impactful play. He gets both Brandon Knight and Penguin with the colossal blow, follows up on him, kills them, allows Team France to really take control of that fight. Neft able to dodge the early hook from Bondred in there, get the rewind onto him later in it to secure the fourth and final kill of that fight. And Team France has some life in them because of the mechanics of the players here. And it's kind of impressive to see, honestly. A lot of life.
Very impressive.
A lot of life left in them, considering where they're at. Bondred, but big hook.
Wow, easy peasy in a terrible spot. All of a sudden, the CC came through, and all of a sudden he was not where he wanted to be. Morose, nothing to do to help him out on that one. Like, it's just constant. France gets a fight, then England gets a fight. France makes a play, England gets a good pick. And now looking at another pick onto Mankiw. No rewind on the side of England this time, but he cannot get to the skies and save himself. Brandon Knight gets another kill, and now looking at this mid-tower, this tier 1 could be falling fairly early.
And it looks like RoamAware is barely going to be able to survive here. They do put down the Ice Core and Talons, able to pick that up. Will now put it in reverse, retreat themselves away from it, but they do even up the turrets on the map. All tier 1s have now fallen. 19 minutes into this game, 2 Fang Teeth for the side of Team England, 1 for Team France, 15 kills for England, 10 for France, 2-2 in the games. We are very, very tight here. It feels like the only real huge difference in this game is Import and Bondred, and then Neft to like 7-1. It's basically going to be a who can carry harder at this point. It feels like, Spooky.
Man, I cannot believe this. Lance, we have more kills than minutes in the game right now by not a small amount right now. 25 kills on the board, 15-10 England's favor. It's like you said, it's Bondred and Import trying to run this game against Neft. Easy peasy has shown to do a lot of work in these fights, but he is being kind of left on his own right now, and there's not a whole lot France can do about that, right? Import's just ahead. He doesn't have to look at this right side of the map whatsoever. So anytime Easy peasy stepping up in that lane, he can pretty much expect someone to come visit him and just try to push Brandon Knight a little bit further forward.
There is a couple of things that I think France can do, not necessarily in that scenario, but just in general in this game. I do like the way that they scale compared to England. The howitzer support eventually just becomes a howitzer, right? Yeah, right. He'll have a support crest, but that damage is going to be there. They're going to have the largest tank in this game with having the Sevrog at Import, gonna be able to just kind of move himself away here. So yeah, they're gonna have the biggest tank in the game eventually with Sevrog. Yes, he's very far behind right now. Sevrog is inevitable. He will eventually get those stacks. RoamAware is a good player. He's going to catch himself up, at least be formidable at a certain point. They've got the Crunch, who is currently very far behind Bondred. But Bondred is, other than being a tank, Richter kind of peters and plateaus because he's very kit dependent because he's designed to be a support. We got to focus on this fight, though. I got to stop rambling.
Bondred already very low. He stepped a little too far forward, and Mankiw's going to drop the rockets down. Neuroregenesis keeps him alive, but can he do anything afterwards? No. Neft puts him back. RoamAware tries to step forward, drops the subjugate down, but he is going down himself. Brandon Knight makes his stance known on this fight as England begins to fight back. 7-1, takes down a crucial target, but trades his life for it. Penguin and Import, it's all on them. Easy peasy, the last one up. That's the RGS ace, as you call it. Boom, boom, boom. England takes another stance in the game.
Oh, okay. So they're going to have to really slow it down to outscale if they're going to want to try to deal with the momentum and the pressure that's being put on by Import and this English team right now, as they are doing what they can to bring the Nations League championship home. They're gentlemen hitting the reverse gentleman sweep on the enemies. A couple of proper gentlemen on the side of Team England have their eyes set potentially on this primordial Fangtooth. All of the members for Team France are about to respawn, but they are going to just try to race them to this. RoamAware is just in a great spot right now, but France knows they can't give this one up for free as well. They've got to do something here. Subjugate hits 2, and it's two backliners, but they can't do anything off of it. They drop the Orb Prime and they pull in Morose. He is locked in, but somehow, no, I take it back. He is gone, erased from the world. Orb Prime still up for now.
France taking some hits to their health bar. Easy peasy. Not in a great spot. But Neff's going to try to put some damage down. He takes Bonjude out from the shadows. He eliminates his target. ManQ comes around. Import and 7-1 turn around. Put him out as well. Don't you step up to us, sir. You need your team if you want to do that. Neff still lurking. Has reset back to his base. It means they may just look back at this Orb Prime. These health bars, not the best.
Yeah, everybody gonna hit the resets here. Team France definitely needed to do it, especially with the Primordial Blaze on the side of Team England here too. They're also gonna have to reset. Don't feel comfortable enough to try to rip that Orb Prime yet, as we are only 24 minutes into the game. It does take a little bit of damage in order to do it. Let's take a second to look at these builds. We have 3 items on all of Team England that need it. Didn't get enough of a chance to look at Team France, but I would assume it is Neff who at minimum has 3, probably 3.5 items on it, as he is kind of the whole damage for Team France at this given point. Still doing the posturing. Morose gets caught again.
Morose has to double dash, trying to get back to safety. He's a sliver of health, but he's going to get out this time. England has driven him off. This offlaner just cannot do anything in this match. He's been going toe-to-toe with Bonjude throughout the set. But here in the 5th game, the most crucial one, he's been put down and nullified. Brandon Knight now in a bad spot as Romaware goes in on top of him. Import gonna come around, try to help out. Stasis is good. The Epoch comes in clutch, and suddenly Romaware finds himself being turned around upon. ManQ drops the rockets from the sky, but it's not enough fire. It's not enough damage. And Team England still takes a step back. Morose tries to go back forward, but unfortunately, they just don't care about this crunch right now. France trying to find a target. Neff wants to find Brandon Knight, but he's not able to do it. Bonjude, so very low.
Bonjude hit a spectacular epoch in that the Colossal Blow was about to come hit him. He was definitely gonna be an observer if that were to land. Neff face checks 2 of them. Oh, has to blink immediately to get away from him. That was almost probably close to game deciding if Neff dies there. They just rushed the Orb Prime, and it's I don't know how to say it's over in French, but it would have been over in French. So
bonjour.
I think that's hello, isn't it? Au revoir.
Yeah.
Or it's au revoir. That would have been goodbye. Doesn't matter. We got to move off of our lack of knowledge of the French language and back to the knowledge that we have about them as a predecessor team.
He's like Siest Finney or something.
It does not matter. I'll ask Tedium when this game's over. He's French-Canadian. That's close enough. With this happening, we now get a reset to the postures of what is going on around this. Neff, on the left side of it, if he reveals himself, expect Team England to get a little bit aggressive. The Primordial Blaze buff is definitely off of all of the members of Team England, so we are kind of at even strengths, only have that extra power of the 3rd Fangtooth at this point. But if Neff's not there, there's no damage for the side of Team France, and I expect England to engage. But
not sure how even it can be right now. 23-14, 3 Fangteeth to 1. England is certainly looking for this fight. Bonjude more than happy to start it up here. And it's drifting towards this mid lane where Neff is, along with Romaware. Morose still off on that right side of the map. Game starting to slow down just a little bit, and you can see why. That Primal Fangtooth, sure, it's off of Team England, but it's going to be coming back up very soon here. And with where the game is at, Team England definitely wants that team fight buff rather than the push buff. They will gladly take a Primal Fangtooth for an Orb Prime. It looks like Team France knows that too. 7-1, I don't like your position here. Please get out.
Yeah, I thought I saw Import run into that side of the map. He must have been coming to this side. I must have been turned around backwards, but France gonna just eat it up really fast.
ManQ goes to the sky, but he's half health when he lands down. Morose comes in, looking at the back line. He's driven off in an instant. Romaware comes through, but he finds himself quickly alone, and he drops just as fast. Import's not in this one, but 7-1 sure is, and he's got to move on forward. Skewer is good, and it puts a T onto easy peasy. Put him in the dirt. That is a full ace. 4 strong for Team England. Walk it down, boys. Walk it down. We're looking over at this tier 2. We might be looking at the inhibitor. Hell, if we clean it up fast, you can put some pressure on that core.
They have 23 seconds. I don't know if that's enough time for them to be able to do it. Good job by Bondred here to tank this tower so that the minions continue to...
They might go for it.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be able to do this. Are they going to bring it home? The minion wave is up here. Still 8 seconds. This has got to be it.
It's
going to happen.
Damage.
That's it.
That's it. That's game number 5. Team England with one fight around the prime pit. It's coming home. They brought it back. The reverse sweep here in Nations number 2. England has their revenge.
Holy cow. I cannot believe that. Import just joined the call. He's doing a little happy dance here, and I am so happy for him. Definitely the change. It felt like they went down 2 games in this. Import said, yo, screw this. Do you not know who I am? Locks that Terra in, decides to just gank Morose on repeat over and over again, get those early leads, get themselves to game 3 where they get the W, get themselves to game 4 where they get the W, get themselves to game 5 when they get the W. They lift the trophies over their head. Congratulations to Team England.
All it takes is one victory, and the rest just keep on coming. England stumbled in the first 2. They locked in and said, no, we do not go down this quietly. And they brought everything back in game number 3. Congratulations to the Revenge Tour. It for Spooky and Lance here on the cast. Let's one more time, the final time, kick it back to the desk.
You know what, guys? This tea has never tasted so good right now. Fish and chips on the MVP of that game. England bring it home in a Game 5 victory. Holy, but to bring it back to the host, as the unbiased as I have to be right now, what a series. I am secondly an England fan, but firstly a fan of incredible predecessor action. Man, oh man, that was a series for the ages. Spooky and Lance, you did that justice, my friends. And what a way to close it out. Kant, Malix, let's have a quick rotation of your thoughts here before we go for the winner's interview. And in a surprise, Kant is muted.
There we go. My wonderful voice is back. Yeah, I think that was a wonderful series. I think that it also ended in an explosively unexpected manner. I would have expected that 5th game to go on to be a barn burner, but England finished it quickly and efficiently.
That game was one interesting game. Bonderberg just showing up there and showing up big with that Richter, just absolutely massacred Monrose on that offlane, just led them to the victory, in my opinion. They just opened up so much space and value for the team, and what a showing, what a final. Amazing plays all around.
Incredible plays, and we have got 2 of the players here joining us for the winner's interview. We're welcoming back Import to the desk here, and also going to be joined by the support. Penguin will also be making an appearance. Unfortunately, no face reveal by the looks of things, but we're going to bring them onto the scene. Import, Penguin, and I like the little addition there. That is the win being put into your name. Gentlemen, revenge must feel so sweet now. You're Nations League champions.
Never felt better, man.
Yeah, we tried hard for it. And it feels good.
It must feel fantastic. I mean, Import, you said it right at the start that when Team England was being created, right, there was just one goal in your guys' heads: beat France. Almost whatever it takes here. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing, shall we say, right? I mean, I want to go a little bit further back to the end of game number 2, right? Because France, they rolled you guys over. We're thinking this series might just end here. What happened in between game 2 and game 3, and how did you pull it back?
Well, just needed to lose the first 2 games and give them some hope. But no, actually what happened was we just messed up draft, man. And then it's like we just figured out, it's like, hey, these are the champs that we just need to get rid of. It's like the Xeris isn't an issue. It's like this Rev can just make it so that even though their jungler can't smite, I can't outsmite him because he just Rev Rs me. So we just take away those champs. We take away champs. And we just knew that we were the better players going into the series. We had so much confidence going into it. Like, we had no doubt in our minds that we were going to win. And after we won game 4, we knew it was over. Just absolutely knew it was over.
Penguin, anything you want to add to that one?
No, I nailed it straight on the head. We had some mishaps in drafts, and we were doing some cowboy drafts, I want to call them, that just didn't suit our style. And then we started locking down and focusing on what we do well, and then just played to the draft, and it just went so much better.
I mean, I think, you guys certainly had us in the first half. I think maybe that's what I'm taking away from you guys. Like, it's the hope that really gets you in the end, right? Leaving them on championship point right into the end until that sweet, sweet victory comes through. If there was going to be a turning point in any of those games, I think, from individually, all of you guys seem to have a bit of a highlight reel throughout that series. I mean, Import, you're just an absolute monster in the jungle. There's just no question about that. Penguin, I'm still getting flashbacks of that Decker play in, I think it was game number 4, I think, underneath the tower. That was just absolutely criminal. But if you guys could sum it up, what was the turning point?
Want to take this one, Penguin?
Yeah. I mean, as although when we're going into game 3, morale wasn't exactly high, and then we make a play here and we make a play there, and things slowly start to creep back up, and we're slowly coming back into the game. I'm pretty sure I've never screamed "Look at me" in my entire life that loud, other than in that moment. But yeah, we just clawed back slowly. Morale started getting higher and higher. We started just getting cleaner and cleaner, and just finished it out.
No, yeah. I mean, everything that he said, right? It's like every single time that we make a play, it's just like, keep the energy up. It's like whenever somebody does something good, give them the verbal pat on the back, and we go on forward. Like I said, we just have a lot of trust in each other. So it worked out.
It all just kind of came together in the end. I was going to ask really what the comms were going to be like here, especially as must have gone through an absolute roller coaster through that entire Game 5 series. I mean, I should say, there's the thermal affirmations, the pat on the back here. I mean, was there anyone in particular that stepped up during the comms, or was it a bit of a team effort to get you over that bump, shall we say?
I think everybody contributed. Like, obviously there's louder people than others, but I think everybody had like a massive play in the series. Like, every single person contributed. I'd say for the most part, it's probably me and Penguin that are doing the most. I think Penguin did everything in game 4. Like, he basically deserves MVP for probably the whole series, but especially game 4.
I mean, yeah, we are pretty back and forth with the game plan, and I decided to do something a bit roguish, and then Import's like, well, okay, boys, let's slow it down a bit. Let's take the more traditional path and actually win this game, rather than me diving under tier 1 because Neft is 300 health or something like that.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy throughout that entire series here. And honestly, Import, it must feel like so long ago when you were here for the pre-series interview with Neft as your opponent, and here you are nearly 4.5 hours later for the winners interview. That's got to feel absolutely fantastic. How do you guys keep focus in that Game 5 series? You guys must be absolutely exhausted.
A lot of caffeine, bro. That's all you can do. I don't know what Penguin does. I don't know what anybody else does, but for me, it's just I have to.
It is actually caffeine. I must have. This is my 3rd Red Bull, I think. We're just powering through this shit.
It's the only way, man. It's like being focused for that long, especially since there are breaks, but there's not like very many long breaks, right? So you really have to like stay in the moment quite a lot, right?
No, I mean, hats off to you guys. I mean, I certainly could not do it as well. Just GG, well played. What a series. Any words to your opponents? I mean, you could try and kick them whilst they're down or be respectful. Anything you want to say to France?
Nothing I can say on air, but yeah, it's just. What do you want to say, Penguin?
I mean, they played well. They had the plan. They probably prepped just as hard as we did. And yeah, I think we just played with our tools better than they did, and that's that.
Hey, simple as that, to be honest. I mean, that turnaround, though, from game number 1 and game number 2, I mean, you did hints there about how dire the comms were in the early stages of that game. And, as it looked to kind of everyone here watching that you guys were done for, honestly, which is how France were playing in game 1 and game 2. Of course, going to say now that actually it was all part of the plan. It was all calculated. But France, it really did give you such a tough game in many stages throughout that series.
Oh, yeah, we did it for the content, It's like Nations League, we brought 5 games before. We bring 5 games back reverse sweep. It's all for the content.
Yeah.
It was totally planned.
I mean, Nations League has the best finals, and we just had to hold on to that, you know. We just had to give it. If there's not 5 games in a Nation League, it's not a Nation League. So.
Well, the Swiss
Absolutely
Riders, thank you.
fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, and thank you to yourselves for delivering that game here. For game number 5 as well, that final deciding game, the relief that you guys must have felt to finally overcome France in that one as well. I mean, what did the setup for game number 5 going into Swan? Confidence is high. Translating it into game though, was that difficult or was it just stick to the plan?
You take this one, Penguin.
I was going to say, you take this one. You're the draft man. You're the one that set us all up.
Okay. I mean, I think the moment that they banned Decker, we kind of knew that it's like mentals are shattered because, Penguin played so well in game 4. I mean, the funny thing is there's a lot of other things they could have banned or tried to ban, but it's like they didn't have an answer to Penguin Decker. So as soon as I saw the Decker banned and they gave us the Richter, which they didn't want us to play because they don't really play it in solo lane, but Bondrew does. And if you don't know, it basically wins most matchups, right? So it just, as soon as we got the Richter, where it was just like the fact that they gave us the Richter because they couldn't play against the Decker, we just knew it's probably over. Then the moment that Rose goes 0-2, it's just like, yeah, he's never going to be able to play this game, and we just knew it's over.
So you definitely get the sense, targeting them, hit them where it hurts as well. That was a matchup that we were really interested, that solo lane between Bondrew and Morose there. Just a final question from me before I pass it over to Kant and Malix and let you guys get some well-deserved rest when your caffeine inevitably crashes down, I am sure. You said, Import, that Penguin might be MVP. Are you going to give him the MVP of your team throughout that entire series?
It's really hard to choose one, but it's like the 2 contenders are Penguin and Brandon. I think both of them played so well. Like, you could give it to either, and I don't think anybody would be upset.
I mean, with our team comp, there was no, everyone had their moment, everyone shined, everyone pulled through when someone else was lacking, and it's just too hard to pinpoint a single member that played above the rest. We just played as a unit and played really well.
All right, that's going to be all for my questions. Kant, Malix, anything from you guys?
Yes, I'm actually a bit more curious about that draft towards the end of it. What went through your mind when you saw that crunch pick being picked up by France at the end? Because on my end, it just a bit questionable. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I think there's an air in the room where we're like, what are they doing? It's like one of those where it's like, I think everybody can look at our team comp and go that's not a very crunch-friendly draft. You're playing into Bellica, you're playing into even Terra's not that nice. And Richter especially is just the bane of your existence. Like, yes, you can go cleanse, but this doesn't bode well. And then it's like you lose the 1 through 5 in solo lane because crunch is so weak in that area. So I definitely thought it was questionable. I think they should have just picked something else. I thought they were going to pick Grux, for instance. I thought game 5 Grux Morose was going to come out. But then when they picked Grunch, I was just like, I guess they don't know what to do. That's the only thing it could be.
Yeah, I don't know what the crunch was either. I think we all had a mutual agreement that was a bit of a weird pick that not many players would do in that scenario.
Malix, anything that you want to add?
I also want to talk a bit about the duel, and considering in the last game they locked in that Wraith and Howitzer, which is they have to win the lane, absolutely demolish the lane in order to translate that onto the map. How were you communicate around that area? Because do you just say we trying to just hold the fort but don't die, or were you guys we can win this, we can play them, we don't really care, or where is your mentality in those type of matchups?
I mean, that entire lane was especially 1 through 6 was just me reassuring 7, look, it's not our time to play. Just give it a moment. Let the boys do their work on the other side of the map. Just let them play, and we'll have them back. And as long as we don't die, and you're 50 CS down, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. The boys are gaming on the other side of the map. That's it.
Yeah, I think we kind of know going into the, I think we kind of know going into that it's dual lane is going to get poked a lot. There's going to be a lot of trouble going on and stuff like that. So it was just about them staying collected, right? And they did a really good job of that throughout the entire series, I want to say. Big shout out to them. They knew what was coming, and they handled it with perfection.
That is quite the feat to do. And I have one last question.
Okay, Malix. All right. I won't deny you this time.
In order to sum up the series, Wiseman once said to me, the gap widens. Would you say that is correct to this series?
I mean, we definitely had the momentum, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew we were going to win. Like, even when it was 0-2, the moment we claw back, it's like you could feel, I think you could feel something in the server that is like, we're just going to win. Like, we had a lot of faith that we were going to win. Like, when we went 0-2, it was definitely a surprise, but it's like the gap definitely did widen with something.
I would absolutely love to have been a fly on the wall during the comms throughout that series. Import, Penguin, thank you so much for taking the time for joining us on the broadcast for the post-game interview. Congratulations to yourselves and to the rest of Team England for bringing it home. England are your Nations League 2 champions. I'm guessing fish and chips are going to be on Penguin or Brandonite tonight in celebration of your victory here. But anyway, you can return back to your teams, get some deserved rest, and enjoy your victory. Thank you so much, gents. Brilliant. That is going to be them heading off, and that is going to be the end of Nations League Season 2. And what an ending we have had, capped off with a grand finals going all the way to a Game 5. Some of the most competitive games that we have seen all tournament, and just the level of competitive Predecessor just keeps on rising. Malix, an opportunity for you guys to plug yourselves, shout out to anyone, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts? Throughout the series, like, I've seen a couple of people just show up in the server, and it's been left just doing his work, farming. Even when France is behind, always farming, always keeping himself relevant. It was always the cornerstone, always get back. But England, the middle, and also the offlane, just doing so well throughout the entire series, and that won them the game in the end.
I kind of want to take a time to like actually just shout out everyone in the back, especially like Lilibee. He's been doing that fucking horse. I'm sorry for this cursing. A horse load of work, like working nonstop, bringing a banging production, and also you guys just working here, the camera people, like everybody just been making sure that we have the best tournament to date. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. And that's all I'm gonna say for that.
All right, I think that is going to be a fantastic note to end it on here. A huge thank you to all of the teams, all the players for participating, for making Nations League Season 2 a grand success. And honestly, Nations League Season 3, Lily, if you're listening, I know right now you probably don't want to think about it, but Season 3 is going to be looking pretty good right now. To all the players, to all of you watching at home, to everyone who has worked on the Nations League, whether you were a moderator in our Twitch chat, running the admin, running the camera work, casting talent, a huge shout out to Dilo, Mugi, and Ragnarok for taking the start of the broadcast as well. We also had Ego, F6 doing some amazing casting as well. Lance and Spooky absolutely nailed that grand finals cast as well, really giving it what it deserved. A huge shout out, of course, goes to Lilibee on production, running everything. We had Tricks on camera, we've had Shift, we've had Tedium. Everyone's been chipping in. To all the talent, you're brilliant, you're fantastic. It's a good night from all of us here at the Nations League, and we'll see you next time for some more Predecessor action.
Only one left. France is pushing towards this court. They're playing out of their absolute mind.
J-Boy's getting zoned by Panda, and they pick up another one. And with 10 seconds left, no members around, Team France is going to be your first Nations League champion, and they come out and they end this game with a dominant force.
Bring it on.
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 Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring it on, boys. Let's have it.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Central America is coming for you, baby.